This week's episode of the Co-optional Podcast is proudly sponsored by Squarespace. Get 10% off your first order at squarespace.com/cooptional. Create your own professional-looking website with no prior knowledge required at squarespace.com/cooptional. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-optional Podcast.
Good intro. Good intro.
It was alright, wasn't it?
You gave up halfway through that.
Yeah, well, it was mostly just like, this word is boring. Can we spice it up a little bit?
Wait, what word? Certainly spicy. Podcast, I think
absolutely.
is the boring word for him.
Yeah. We've done so many of them, so damn many.
That's true.
Yep.
Yep. It's the 27th of January of the year of our Lord 2015.
It's a bright sunny day
like
outside with 54
They fought like
degrees.
Scotsmen.
They did not do any of those things. It is post-PAX, so is anyone suffering post-PAX depression? I'm told this is actually a thing.
Oh, I did get a sore throat for a while, and I was like, am I getting sick again?
That's the PAX box right there.
It just ended.
Yeah, well, a while. I mean, like yesterday evening, and now it's almost gone again. So as long as I don't get sick again, I'm fine with it.
I woke up with what felt like a sore throat, but I think it was just one of those, like, I slept the whole night going, I'm doing one of those. So
Yeah. I know.
False alarm, everybody. I'm in perfect health.
Good. Glad to hear it. The PAX pox is a virulent thing, something very dangerous that needs to be avoided at all costs, but it's very difficult to do so. It's a malaise. As soon as you walk into the building, you're instantly exposed to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I never know because I always carry around the
Hand sanitizer.
hand sanitizer.
You
I was going to say
absolutely need
antiseptic.
that.
Wrong
If
word.
you're doing meet and greets, no way you survive without that.
Oh, I
Yeah,
take
so
a bath in that stuff.
Just but there's like a part of my brain that thinks, but what if I have like a protective layer over my body that I'm also wiping away with the hand sanitizer?
What the shit are you talking about?
And just
Protective
it's a
layer?
thing I've wondered.
Like
it's
the
a
good
thing I've wondered before.
bacteria.
Yeah, like maybe I'm getting rid of all of my own bacterias and oils that are just kind of like hanging out on the surface being like, no, stop, intruders. And then I get rid of that as well. And then the next time I handshake somebody, their germy bits just go straight into my bod. You know?
Next
What
time we
about
should
you?
just come in
That's not how it
biosuits.
That's not how it works at all. Not at all.
Just hazmat suits and
you
bubbles.
clearly have
Yeah,
no
pretty much.
understanding of how the human body works. That's not
How does
even
the human body
remotely
work,
close.
Jesse?
Yeah, Jesse, if you could take us through it.
Okay, you see,
Education with Cox.
your body's
Oh
like
my
a temple.
God, start that show. Wait a minute. Yes, okay, sorry. My body's a temple.
Your body's like a temple. And
Like a temple, sorry.
like a temple. I mean, it's not a temple. Your body's like a temple.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, there are people who are there from time to time who hang out. That's the bacteria.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that having other people come visit it is bad. They're just there. Here's you
No,
let
wait
them
a
come
minute.
to the
This is
Hold up.
dumb as shit.
This is the worst because maybe the people who are typically there are my guards. And if the guards are there, then they can make
There's
other
nothing to-
people
look,
go away
there's
because
nothing
the
to
temple's
guard in that
closed.
temple,
Temple's
sweetheart. There's
closed.
nothing to guard in
Temple's
that temple.
closed.
But
Temple's
you're not a
closed
temple.
due to
You're
PAX
like a
pox.
temple.
No,
That's
yeah,
like
first off-
you're like it's like fake
No,
food.
Shut. Let me finish the analogy.
Please don't.
It's okay
It was so
to have
good anyway. So.
Yeah.
It's okay to have the
Now we're
visitors
getting to the
come
best part.
visit. It's okay
Uh-huh.
to have the visitors come visit the outside walls, your hands, Just don't let them in the inner sanctum. That's all I'm saying. Just don't let those people in deep.
That's what I mean. If I wipe away the guards, then people can just walk right
They're
in.
not guards. That's just tourists. Those are tourists. The white blood cells are the guards. You are so dumb. Don't you follow where I'm going
You're
with this?
dumb. That was an awful
You're an
metaphor.
idiot.
Learning
idiot.
with Cox.
Learning with Cox.
I had to deal a whole weekend with these people.
How did you fucking manage? Crendor, welcome to the show for the 19th frickin' time.
I think it's 14 or 15.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
I mean, you're the substitute teacher of the Co-optional podcast, really.
I am. I still want my special action figure thing you're making, but it just shows up in one of every 20 orders. It's like a special item.
And no one
Great.
wants it.
No one wants
no
it
one
at all.
wants
It's like, this is disappointment in a box right here.
Be
You
great.
just can't do it.
Like not even painted.
Yeah.
They always look like they were made wrong.
This is not the figure you're looking for.
No, you don't convince people. That's true. Everyone believes that. Like, oh man, I got a Crendor.
Even I'd be sad. So, I mean, I was at Pax South with everybody, and we had a grand old time. Lots of stories, lots of adventures.
I have to say, I was not excited to go to Pax South, and now I wish every PAX was like Pax South. Because it was just, it was so chill because, nobody wanted to be there originally. Because I was talking with some.
I did. You're crazy.
No. I don't mean us. I mean like people who had booths there. Everybody was approached being like, hey, wouldn't you like a booth at PAX South? And everybody's like, in a few weeks, I have to go to PAX East. Why would I spend money to go to PAX South? So like the whole floor, they had a huge convention center and you could see everything on the PAX floor from the top of the escalators. It was so much smaller, but it was kind of rad. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I mean, it was their first time, wasn't it? So it didn't even sell out, if I recall correctly, which is very unusual for a PAX.
Here's the crazy thing. It didn't sell out, but everything there did, which is nuts. So,
In what do you mean by that?
So all the shirts they had, all the people who brought games to booths, or like I know the Super Fight guys, like all those people who brought products, everything that they brought sold out.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the actual convention didn't sell out number-wise, I guess everyone planned for so little that everything was gone by like morning Sunday.
Right.
Like everything was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who was it that was saying, oh my gosh. Oh, this is going to be a terrible story with no details and extremely vague. There's
Great.
somebody
Did
who
you
had
not
a
sell it
booth.
then?
Okay, never mind.
It's like my stories.
If you remember the details, by all means.
Somebody ran out of all of their product by the middle of the very first day. And
Oh,
then
that
had
was
to
the
send
Super
everybody
Fight
away.
guys. They were
It was
at
Super
the
Fight?
party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all. End of story.
Yeah, so like basically all these people, especially a lot of the vendors and sellers, brought stuff, and no one was prepared because they thought it was going to be a little tiny convention.
Well, I mean, it was
And
the first time they've run it at that location, so it did make sense.
no one knew, and I think that's really cool that even though it didn't sell out, and ticket wise, everyone who went there like really passionate and really like a lot of money was spent for a small convention. I was really like blown away by that. So it was fun. It was cool.
Well, PAX continues to be successful. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. I believe all PAX is outside of. I assume. I don't know. Did Australia sell out? Hard to say. I mean, that seems like the kind of thing that probably wouldn't. But you never know. I mean, it's not like Australia gets a lot of game shows down there. So PAX, I think, is the only game in town. Really, I don't know of any others, any other major ones at any rate. I imagine they've got something that's just national. That's a cat.
Hello, cat.
He's like, hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Now he's gone.
Just a tail in the frame, and that's it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
originally.
we ate. Hold on.
We ate a cat?
No, we didn't
Hold
eat a
it.
cat. We ate some really mediocre Texas food there.
Really?
Oh my
Pretty much
God.
all the food we ate was like, it's okay.
That's disappointing.
San
Considering.
Antonio is a weird city. Like it's almost on the border of being interesting, but not there yet.
Okay.
It's very strange. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess that was the city of choice for a reason. I don't know what the reason
Well,
was.
I imagine because they were talking about it in the panel after after yours, actually, that cut yours off because you overran.
They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle
Way
the
to
magic.
go.
Oh
Yeah.
well.
It's they actually talked about it. It's like, and someone asked you, how do you choose the city? And it's like it's really down to a few factors. Like it's down to cost of the venue. It's down to how willing the city is to actually work with us, and it's also down to hotel locations. Very much so. You can't hold a convention if there's not enough hotels and they're not like reasonably priced enough to actually get people to go. Because if it's too expensive a city, then people are just not going to go to it because they can't afford the hotel. So that's something to consider there. But how did the panels go? I mean, obviously, I watched yours. Were they like pretty much packed out? Were the panels popular at Pax South?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all panels.
The panels we did.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I think the first panel that Crendor and I did, we were sort of co-opted to do it, and that wasn't packed, but that was because it was before the thing actually opened, so that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were asked to go help with that, so we did. It was fun. But the panels that we were part of, like actually supposed to do, the Friend Zone panel was packed. That was awesome. It was a small room. It was a small room. It could have been bigger.
It was a small room. It was a small,
small room.
We could have fit some more people in.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. But then there was another panel. The Cox
No. I'm
Cox
mimicking the
Crendor
enforcer.
panel though
No.
was
oh yeah, the
huge. It was
enforcer
crazy.
guy.
So we had a lot of fun. Cox Crendor panel made my look. I was kind of turned on the entire time. It was pretty great. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of people there. I've never seen that many people.
Just saying, we got our panel streamed. Markiplier didn't get his panel streamed.
That's true. Where's your stream, Markiplier? I didn't see it.
You got more
Ours
than
got
double
streamed.
the viewers of the actual PAX founders that came on after you. They immediately dropped 50% of the viewers as soon as that happened. You guys had like
Oops.
you beat the Gearbox panel, if I recall correctly. You guys
We
did
did.
well.
Yeah.
It was great. It was and it was fun. I think what made it more fun was that it was unlike other packs. It wasn't as insanely crowded, and you weren't like rushed around to things. And so when you met people, you could really. It felt less like a panel and more like you were talking to people.
Okay.
You knew the people you had met because you had like actually spent time talking with them because you weren't like in crowds like this walking around.
Yeah.
It was.
I like the smaller cons for that reason, especially if
was a
I'm
lot of
doing
fun.
a panel at them. I think it was the Game Vid Expo, which was in Atlanta, which was actually surprisingly popular considering it was a very oddly specific show. It's like, this is about people that make videos about games on the internet mostly. That's the entire convention, and lots of people were there, and that was really cool because it was just the right size where you could really spend time actually interacting with people. And it wasn't a case of, oh, there's a line that's 4 hours long. I've got to sign your thing, shake your hand, possibly hug you, and then I've got to get you out of the way in the next 15 seconds because otherwise this will literally take all day.
That was Jesse's life.
Yeah.
We
Every time
signed
Jesse
stuff
walked
for
anywhere,
like
it was just
3.5 hours.
Yeah.
The one day.
But that's why I didn't take any gaming appointments this convention, because I literally was like, I'm gonna go and I know what's gonna happen. So, and I'm not the guy who ever says no or like, sorry, I'm busy. So I was like, F it. I'll just go, and if people want to harass me, great. If not, I'll go play games. Good. And that might be my MO for the rest of like conventions ever. Because look,
We're kind
I'll
of doing
find
that
time
too,
to play
honestly.
your games.
Yeah. That's our plan. I mean, we're. It looks like we're doing E3 again, but it's going to be kind of a more laissez-faire thing, and
Great.
we're doing Dragon Con, as we mentioned. Yeah, we're actually doing that.
Yeah.
So we've got our hotels booked. We've got our penguin experience booked because it's right. The hotel's apparently near an aquarium, so we're going to go to the aquarium and we're going to.
I'm at the same hotel.
Yeah, I think we're all there, if I recall correctly. So
Oh, are we gonna film a Penguin Day?
yeah, we
Oh
might
my
go.
God.
Day.
Yeah,
Penguin Day.
Yeah,
Penguin
we
Day.
can get down there. It'll be awesome. But it's gonna be for us. It's gonna be like we want to do a panel, and then we want to meet people and board game and play stuff and have fun.
And I think that's what conventions are. And I think the idea of like having done it enough, the whole like booking appointments to visit our game.
Oh God,
You
yeah.
get the exact same experience had you not booked it, half the time they forget you were even booked.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
That
it's
is true.
worth booking appointments for the behind closed doors stuff, but that really is about it for the most part. And honestly, as we discovered, like people actually they don't want intense convention coverage, and the numbers suck. It's not worth it. Like we had the weird thing where the stuff that we actually filmed ourselves got less views than us just talking in the hotel room over B-reel. Like
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was like, well, okay then. I guess we take a smaller number of appointments. We just focus on the stuff we're really interested in, and it sort of sucks for indies, but simultaneously, I think it's a much better idea to cover indies when they launch and not 6 months before they launch, because no one will fucking remember by the time it comes out. So there's no point. It's actually like doing them a disservice, I think.
Yeah, and the worst, when you go talk to them, 90% of the time they're like, no, okay, this is alpha footage, remember. So if something goes wrong, it's alpha footage. And it's like,
Yeah,
I don't
so
care.
we get
I just
it.
want to
We
play
get
your
it.
game.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. I'm not going to be like, oh, it didn't work. It's like,
Well, I'm terrified. I think a lot of the indie guys are terrified that the game will show badly and like a YouTuber will hate it, and then that's like, well, that's your game done. It's like, no, it doesn't really work that way. Like, no one YouTuber has the power to tank a video game like that unless it is unbelievably bad in the first place, like Guys at the Wolf, for instance. But to be fair, that tanked itself, so I don't think it's too big a deal. But yeah, we're definitely changing our approach to conventions now. And
TB, come
it's
chill
not
with me.
worth doing it.
Come chill with me at a convention. Come chill. Come chill with me at a convention. I had so much fun at
being
Pax South.
intense,
Come chill.
The intensity is pointless. It's a lot of hard work, and ultimately, people like the quality of content you produce is probably not very good because you're rushing between games. You don't even have enough time to really settle into a rhythm. You're rushing all over the fucking place. You're playing games that you don't really fully understand and that you haven't been properly prepped on because there's so many of them. You've got to do like 30 in a day. It's not worth the hassle. Just don't.
Yeah,
Not
man.
doing it. Not doing it anymore. Not doing it.
That's what I've been doing from the beginning, y'all.
Come relax. Come relax. Come spend like a Jesse day. You need a Jesse day. Let me take you. Look, we went day one. We ended up at like what I assume is a drug den that had really good food.
Yeah.
What?
Sweet Yams.
What?
We went
This
to
place
Sweet
called Sweet
Yams.
Yams. We walked
Sweet
over this place
Yams.
that was in like the ghetto. Got ourselves. It was delicious, but it looked like a drug den. Then we had a great time. We went around. We cruised. We hung out with fans. Man, you need a Jesse day. I will help you relax.
We went to that Mexican restaurant with the
Oh,
good
yeah.
Everyone said
margaritas
to
and
go
the
to.
insane electricity bill.
Our Uber driver was like, you should check out this Mexican place. They got great margaritas. And we were like, oh, what about the food? And he's like, they got great margaritas. We were like, oh.
But is the food good? I mean, I really like the margaritas. And Jesse was like, we're in. We were like, no.
Well, here's the thing: you drink enough of the margaritas, the food tastes great.
Food's great.
Fantastic, best
TV's
thing I've
already
ever
halfway
eaten.
to a Jesse day. We're on
It's
the same
the
page.
kebab formula. It's that simple. You will literally eat anything after you've drunk enough. So go for it. Now, Dodger, I heard you had a bit of an altercation with the enforcers. There was something.
Oh, we did
going on with
at the
that.
friend zone panel. It was amazing.
What happened?
No, it was like we basically just like really pissed this guy off because most of the friend zone panel is a Q&A. So there was, nice big line. There was a sign that popped up that said 5 minutes, which we always ignore. And then it hit 1 minute and he started making everybody sit down. And we were like, what's happening? No, don't sit down. And he was like, you have 1 minute. And we were all like,
just like,
lightning
form
round,
a
get
new
back in the
line.
line. Yeah, we were like, back in line, everybody. And they all ran up and he was doing this. No. It was like, started walking up to like stop us, like started to come up the alley, just like, no, how do I
Stop this madness?
Yeah, I don't think he
Can't
really
stop the
realized what a lightning
madness.
round meant for us, though.
I feel bad for enforcers. When I get up there, I lose all respect for their position. And so I'm like, we're just gonna go until they kick us out. That's what happened when we were at our panel. I was like, the hell with it. 2 more questions. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Hey,
What are
we
they
all
gonna
like-
do?
So I agree.
Yeah.
We all have an appreciation for enforcers, I think, especially since like we've done enough PAXs and stuff's happened where enforcers have really been like top dogs, you know, to the point where I get pissed off when people like fucking insult enforcers and just say they aren't doing a good job. I'm like, no, are you fucking kidding me? They're great. Like, there's like maybe one bad apple in like 2 years of doing PAXs that I know of that just like, hey, I have a position of power, I'm going to abuse it. Everyone else is fucking lovely.
Oh, the
They do
YouTuber
a
guy.
great job.
The YouTubers.
Oh my god! Yes, there was another guy when we were like walking through this room, all dressed up in like animal costumes, ready to do this bullshit panel that we all love. This guy, a Utilikilt enforcer, walked by us going, "Where are the YouTubers?" And we were like, "Oh no, no. He's like, "The YouTubers! Where did the YouTubers go?" And we were like, "Oh God, does he mean us? What's happening?" And it turned out there was another panel that was like, YouTubers.
Oh.
And he approached this huge group of guys who were just like in a circle minding their own business. And he was like, "I can't believe that you guys walked through that tunnel when you didn't have any accompaniment. You can't do that anyway." He was like telling them off.
Wow.
There's literally like
hardcore.
four
Okay.
people watching their panel. There's like 4 people ready to watch their panel. It was like, why are you getting mad, dude?
I felt so bad for them. And we were like, well, we're just gonna
Walk away in our animal costume.
Walk away as
everybody.
oblivious as possible.
Just be like, YouTubers? What are those? They sound
Who are
dumb.
we are
But, like-
the animal
like,
friends.
For real though, after it was over, the guy came up and I was like, "I'm really sorry. We were just
Yeah.
being stupid." And he's like, "It's the people after you have a lot of setup to do." And I was like, "I know, but you know, we do it for the kids." And he's
Well, in
like,
the
"Shut
end-
up, Cox."
In the end, you know, we have to be the good guys who are like, "No, fuck the man. More questions."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and we
'cause
like
that's how we
being those
stick it to
guys
the
when we're
man.
on the panel. Yeah,
That's how you
we
don't
like
get
being
a
those
panel
guys.
again next year if you keep pulling that shit. Don't
It's
do
too
that.
late. I already got one for East. It's too late.
Yeah, but here's what they're going to do. They're going to gradually downgrade you to the smallest, shittiest panel room they can, and they're not going to tell
That's
you
great.
about
They
it until
do
the
that.
last
The
minute.
same people will still
Yeah.
show up,
That's
and then
great,
they'll
though.
have to turn away so many people. That's
We'll
more
VIP
hassle
it.
for them.
Well,
You've got this
VIP
all
it in.
figured out. You guys
Yeah,
play
no,
the system.
They'll be. Look, I saw the crowd outside Markiplier's panel. That was a small room, and those kids cried when they couldn't get
They
in.
literally
oh my god!
cried.
I know.
Oh my
They were
god!
losing
I
it. There was a
immediately
wall
decided
of bodies just.
I wanted that so badly. I want a small room where people are forced to cry because they can't get in. Holy
We had a
crap!
similar
that would be great.
experience. At the last minute, we arranged the British expatriate panel at the Escapist Expo. That was me, Jim Sterling, and Yahtzee on the same panel. And that got kind of crazy because the room was by no means... Like, we could have filled the theater easily with the amount of people. And there was like 100 seats. And there were about 400 people. It was really kind of sucky. Like, it's actually why like we made it a priority to make sure it was filmed so those guys could get it to actually watch it. Because it was a fun panel. Like, we never met. I never met Yahtzee before that event. He's fucking awesome, incidentally. Surprisingly shy, considering, you know. Yeah, he's a shy guy. But he's really cool. He's really chill. Like him a lot. And Jim Sterling is just a big cuddly bear that drinks and then goes to play Pokemon in his hotel room late at night. I assume that wasn't a euphemism for anything, but knowing him, it could be.
Oh, it was. Oh, it was.
I'm gonna go play Pokemon.
Yes. I'm gonna go upgrade my Charizard, if you know what I mean.
Unleash the
Gonna-
Pokeballs, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Gonna
Trying to
touch
think of a
myself.
Diglett joke.
Get out-
That's the only one that I can think of.
Get
that
out
looks
the
kinda like a
Onyx
dick.
immediately.
There's Onyx, yeah.
Yeah, that's a snake.
If you're feeling really
Jim
sassy about yourself, you
Sterling.
can call it Onyx.
More of a
Oh.
Squirtle.
Oh, Christ. All right, so
Oh yeah, we booed a guy. We booed a guy
You
on the
booed-
way out of our panel.
why did you do that thing?
For
He was leaving.
years, I've seen people leave panels early, and so some guy got up and left our panel early, and I was like, everyone boo him! And so,
That's cruel. What the fuck?
well, here's the thing.
tweeted later,
Afterwards,
and
he
he was
tweeted us
like-
and said how much he loved it. He was
Oh,
like,
right.
let's go off.
Likes
I
the
smiled. I
attention.
was like,
All right, yeah, that's
yay.
it. Okay. Fair enough.
So,
Jesse's,
fun.
I've realized the more events that I go to with Jesse and the more times that I'm on a panel with Jesse, Jesse's that guy who will just tell everybody that they're dumb and he hates them. And they're like, Jesse, I love you so much. I'm like, I don't understand. I literally don't. People come up and he's like, wow, nice jacket, nerd. And they're like, Jesse.
Pay to be insulted by your favorite YouTube video person.
Yeah,
if I
it's
could do
literally
panels and live events for life and not actually have to work, I'd be set. I love those things. I could do them
Some
every
people
day.
do. Some people just do the
all
circuit.
day.
You know?
Holy crap.
Hell,
that'd
I
be fun.
think like a lot of university professors and speakers like base their entire career on that principle.
Yeah, you should be, Jesse, you should be a motivational speaker. But the opposite. You'll tell everybody you're a motivational speaker and then you'll show up and be like, guess what? Life's going to be really hard forever. Prepare yourself. And then you just walk out.
I think during our lightning round, I don't remember much about what we did during our panel. It was very much a blur, but I know that during our lightning round that Crendor and I had, some guy's like, what would it take to go out on a date with you? And I was like, having a vagina, I think was my answer.
It was. That was your answer.
I just don't think. And it comes out, Jesseisms.
And then there's a Tumblr post about it, and everything's horrible. It's like, why don't you?
If you got it, look. I've said before.
Yes.
This is true. One time, one of my friends, because he's a bad kid like that, sent me this text that was like this very attractive woman getting plowed, right? But when you scroll down,
The story is going in a
that
totally
attractive
different
woman,
direction
when
than
you
I
scroll
expected.
down, the attractive woman had a wiener. And then I sent him a text back like, look, here's the deal. That's still an attractive woman, even with that wiener. Like, I'd still do that attractive woman with the wiener. That was a very attractive woman. And he was like, I was like, don't hurt me. That was a hottie. So I'm just saying.
So what you're saying
What's
is
the
you
point of the
lied at
story?
your panel.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you just
have
gotta
to
be beautiful.
a
Just be
hot-looking,
beautiful.
feminine human being.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
all
That
matters.
works. That does work. And you have to have a nice rack.
And boobs. Okay, so boobs. Have boobs.
I don't know what a
Hot feminine
I didn't
face.
lie.
I'm very,
Yeah,
very,
Jesse's in.
very glad that Jesse has such high standards and is
Good
clearly
standards,
looking
yeah.
for a meaningful relationship in his life.
I got the look. If you, I got them from my parents. If you watch the Q&A with them, I asked my parents what I'm looking for in a woman or something. What they expect a woman. My dad's like, is she warm? Like that was
What?
like that's all they expect from me. They're just like,
Is it alive? Is that
it alive?
that's the
Yeah, that's
standard?
exactly how I took that.
I was gonna say, like, does that mean
Yes.
like, is she like a warm human
No,
being?
no.
Like, a
Is she
caring
breathing?
Is she
Is she
breathing?
alive?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
They just want
parents
grandchildren
get
at this
me.
point.
They do. Like Jesse, they're
My
disappointed
standards
in
are
you.
very low.
They're disappointed in
don't-
you. The longer this goes on, the more they're gonna push you. Just like, look, just whoever you can get. Honestly, at this point, like,
Yeah.
we don't really mind.
Oh.
All right, let's talk about PAX. Should we talk about PAX games first or games we've been playing? Because I mean, I guess you guys haven't been playing many other than the PAX games. So, what do we want to start with?
Man,
I actually didn't play much on the PAX floor. So.
Okay. All right.
So if they want to talk about all the stuff they played,
Or we
I
could
can
just
talk
do that
about,
in the
like,
second
one or two
hour. I
things
mean,
no,
I don't know.
I got you. So
with it.
the three big things there were one, the 3DS, which was
The new 3DS. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know, new 3DS XL is the shit.
Why?
It is
Finally got to touch it. It's so cool.
Why?
It follows your face.
the
That
first thing
seems
that's really
completely
important is the
worthless. What exactly else does it do?
well, I mean, here's the deal. If you love 3DS, you'll love this even more. If you thought that 3DS offered you nothing good to begin with, then you won't care about the new 3DS. Like, there's difference-wise, there's not much. But if you want the 3DS experience that you should have got the first time you bought that 3DS, this is the handheld. Like, the 3D, when you move, it follows you, so you don't have that weird, like, you're playing at an angle. It follows your eyes. So everything's in 3D all the time. You can turn it on and off. That's fine. But I actually want to have it on now. I have a 3DS. I don't turn it on. I've never turned the 3D on. I don't know why I would ever need it.
I still don't see why I'd use it, honestly.
It has. I mean, I don't think it. I think the thing is, it doesn't detract from the game. I have a lot of feelings that when I play with the 3DS now, if I'm playing with 3D on, it detracts from the gameplay experience. So I
Okay.
turn it off.
Yeah.
It has the C stick, whatever that little tiny.
Yeah, the little
the nipple?
thing. Yes.
Yeah, the
yeah,
nipple.
the 3D nipple.
Thank God for that. Monster Hunter 4 with that is so much better.
Shitload
Like it's
better,
infinite.
yeah.
It's great. It's great. And then the games. Monster Hunter 4. Holy crap, that was fun. I thought it was gonna be too tiny to play, which is why I
thought
wasn't
that.
interested at all.
It's not
It's
though.
great. It's great.
Yeah, I didn't play it at PAX, but I have a copy that I've been playing, and it's really really fun. And I worried about the same thing, that I would get really frustrated with how small the screen is because I'm so used to playing it on the Wii U. But it's actually super fun, and I don't have the nipple, unfortunately. So
I still
have to,
don't
like,
like Monster Hunter.
touch the dumb screen. Why not, Crender?
I just get bored. I'm just
Actually,
like, I'm just
sorry, I
killing
can't be
these
upset with you.
monsters. And I'm just like I was playing it there, and I was like, all right, like it's cool, but I don't want to play it like outside of that environment where I'm just like I don't know. That style of game just bores me. I'm just like, whatever. I'm just
So you're
killing these
not
things.
much of a Dark Souls player or anything like that?
No, I don't know. I never
They have similar
even-
mechanics.
It's a similar weight to the combat, like, and the
Yeah.
way that, like, there's nasty big monsters and kind of slow moves and a lot of emphasis on dodging.
I've
Yeah,
been
those are
trying to
just
play
the
with the
games I
Great
can't get
Hammer.
into.
It's so frustrating. The
Oh, 'cause it
hammer in Monster
Takes
Hunter,
absolutely
you're just
forever
like,
to swing that thing.
it does a ton of damage, but if you don't time it out perfectly, it's so obnoxious.
Oh,
I'm
the
probably gonna
new
switch up.
Zelda. The new Zelda was really cool though.
Oh, Majora's
You mean
Mask.
the old Zelda? The old,
Yeah.
the
Well,
old,
the old
done-
Zelda.
I was gonna say, it's the
Zelda.
same game, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like
but
that's
it
the
played
one
really
where
well.
on the new 3DS, I noticed how much better the graphics looked, even without the 3D, because I turned the 3D off too.
Yes.
And it just
Yeah.
like all of the colors looked really vibrant, and Majora's Mask already is a pretty vibrant game.
Yeah.
But the only unfortunate thing is that the intro to Majora's Mask takes for fucking ever. And so you're just sitting there like, one day I'll play this game. It looks beautiful. But one day I'll play it. And that's why that line took so long, in case you were
Yep.
wondering.
Other than Nintendo, the biggest, I think, draw there for me was the Dreadnought Grey Goo booth. That place was insane. Dreadnought, I don't know if it's going to be awesome or if it just was fun to play there. But it's basically 5v5 battle cruisers, like space cruisers.
Yep.
And, you can have like little Corvettes and Dreadnoughts and all sorts of stuff. And then you just go at it against an enemy team. And it was a lot of fun. Our team got its ass kicked because someone went 0-15. Whoever that person is, shame on you. You shouldn't play video games. You cost us the victory. But it was a lot of fun. And Grey Goo was a blast.
Grey Goo's great.
We played
a lot of that.
we played a ridiculous view of it. We played a ridiculous demo, but I didn't get really to see much, so I still have to go actually buy it. But it was fun, and those were like the big ones.
Oh, what was that one gigantic game? Is it gigantic?
Gigantic was
It's
there, which is-
it's a Dota style third-person sort of game, right? It's
Yeah,
Smite-ish, I think.
Yes.
That looked really cool.
Yeah,
I didn't get to play that, but it looked really cool, like watching people play it.
Yeah, Gigantic is. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I had a chance to play it at Gamescom ? I don't remember when that was, but it's
That was a
basically
while
your
ago.
Yeah. It might have been Prime. I don't remember, but it was you play as it's a 5 or 6 team comp, and you go against another team the same, and you have these giant, either like this dragon man or this owl or all sorts of crazy things, and they are your gods, and you have to sort of unleash their power on the enemy team. And by doing that, you go around and kill stuff and take objectives. It's very sort of like next level Smitey. I think it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing it. I think the graphics are its biggest sell. If you like kind of the art style that they went with Overwatch, it's very sort of similar to that. It's like
It's a colorful game. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we showed it on the show like last week when it was brought up, and I think a lot of people were saying when it sort of turned up and then Overwatch turned up, it's like, oh god, Overwatch is going to stomp all over this damn thing. But it doesn't seem like it's not the same game at all, really. Overwatch is
Not at all.
not a Dota style game at all, you know?
right. It's definitely. I think it was the biggest line there. It would be
That's
safe
cool.
to say that was the
I'm
biggest
really
line.
happy to see that.
And then there was a megaton of indie games, a lot of indie games. Twitch had a big booth, but and
Which
Blizzard
I think had
was
the
with the
biggest
Twitch
booth, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really
And
big.
Blizzard was at their booth too, and the line for that was insane too, mostly because and it was funny because the game was here Hearthstone, which but they were giving away Heroes of the Storm codes, so everyone there was just like, oh my code, and I think it was like for the first 100 every day or something like that. So the lines were insane.
Oh, that one game was fun. Night Squad.
What?
Night Squad.
As in
with
Night
the
Squad with a
knights
K or an N?
with a K.
Okay.
How does that sound
Like
so
you play
familiar?
as like a bunch of knights,
Yes,
and
because Dodger, we played that at one of the packs a while ago, and I said
Yes,
play it on
that
Friend
game's
Zone.
super fun.
It's great.
We
It
did
is
play it on
really
Friend
fun.
Zone. Yeah,
They
it's
updated
great.
the game. They added new modes. They made one now where you have a laser, and the lasers like shoot across the screen, and they're really slow, so like you're chasing each other. There's a soccer version, a football version where you have to get a ball in, but you're still using swords and stuff.
We played
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. There
It's
are
a
a
ton
lot
of
of
fun.
modes in
it's
that
just
game.
like a really
It's super
fun party game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep. Oh, we're back. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, hi.
What did you say?
I was talking about how I get to be the Orange Knight, and then I was like, the Orange Knight, he's so beautiful. I'm so excited. The Orange Knight, I love him. I love him so much. And you guys were it looked like you were all just staring at me. And I was like, somebody
No,
stop me.
I couldn't hear a word you were saying. I didn't know what you were talking
Yeah, it was
about.
just like all frozen. It was like,
Yeah, no, that was a ton
Don't
of
do
fun.
that.
Game.
Scared me that was just happening again. Don't do that. Don't. Anyway, yes.
Teasing.
So
What
Night
was that,
Squad.
Grindr?
Apparently,
I
pretty
don't
good.
know.
Another game that I really, really, really liked was Rebel Galaxy.
I've heard a little bit about this.
Imagine a open universe space sim kind of thing where you're the ship, but you're also, the captain of the ship, but you're the ship and you can build stuff onto the ship. And when you warp or when you move around or when you go to missions, you are doing it in real time. So the warp, you're like in real time warping to get there. And then when you go to space stations, it's kind of Dragon Age-y. It's kind of like the best part of that Divinity game that we really liked,
Divinity
the
Original
Dragon
Sin?
Commander.
Oh, Dragon
Yeah, yeah.
Commander. Okay.
Yeah. It's the part of that game that was fun. It's the part where you are going to go talk to, your crew and get involved in what's going on. It's that part. It's sort of that Dragon Age, like when you go to the space stations or the bars, you're doing all these communicating things and taking quests and making conversation choices. And then when you go out into the real world, you're in this spaceship and you're flying around and you're fighting in real time. It was a lot of fun. It was
Is it on a
really, really
Is it
fun
like
game.
a fully 3D plane? It looks like it's on a 2D plane. Like you can't go up and down. Is that true?
That's a great question. I did not even try. I don't know. I assume it has the illusion of it if it's not, because I remember things being below you and above you, so I don't know. I mean, I was able to target them, so I assume the ship moved, but I didn't actually try, so I don't know.
That game looks fun from the footage. Although
Yeah,
all of the
it's a lot of
footage was
fun.
outside. So I didn't get to see any of the stuff going on inside.
Yeah,
of
if
the
you go to
actual
the
ship.
Rebel Galaxy website, they have the inside stuff where you can see the different aliens and the different crew people, and you can hire mercenaries to join you and fight on your side.
I like
That's a
the
lot
amount
of
of lasers that are coming out of the ship in a very obvious way. Like it really
There's
does
so
look
many.
Like, it looks like a capital ship fight,
Yeah, and you can this is what I told him when I played it, because he was like we tried to go for a specific feeling. I told him it's basically, this is exactly how I feel. It's the cool part of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It has the same mechanics as the pirate fights.
right?
When you're on your ship, it feels the exact same way, but in space. And I was like, I dig this. I really, really liked it. So that was a lot of fun too.
There's the town of Salem, but I don't think that's new.
Yeah, Town of Salem's not new, but that's a fun game. It's a party game.
Yeah.
And, have you played that, Dodger? Town of Salem?
No.
Isn't that
Does it take place in Salem, Oregon?
That's just mafia, isn't it? Like they just put
Yeah,
it's the mafia.
Yes, yeah. And so you have to figure out who's the bad person. You can hang your friends and stuff.
What? That
Yeah.
sounds
They have
great.
100 different roles or something. Like they got a lot of them.
Yeah.
And social justice warrior.
Yes, let's
Holy
hear about
crap.
this.
Did not
That
get
game is amazingly
Oh my
fun.
God.
I don't even. Social justice warrior, you play as either a social justice paladin or a social justice cleric or a social
Okay.
justice bard, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you role play fight basically battles.
You argue on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to argue logically. You can't just like dick around. So
Well, that's completely unrealistic when it comes
I was
to
gonna
arguing
say
on the
that's kind of
internet.
nice.
Well, you have 2 bars. You have your sanity and your reputation.
Sanity.
And
Jesus.
And
That's
so
a
if
big
either one
rib,
of
lose your
those
isn't it?
sanity, you're done.
Yeah.
Lose your sanity,
Yeah.
reputation, you're just done. And so, like, the guy you're fighting might say something really offensive, and so you could counter that point. But the better idea would have been to just retweet it, and then people would bombard him, and he'd lose both sanity and reputation, like that kind of stuff. So, like, he's like, I mean, I don't want to sound racist, but you know who I hate, and then you just retweet, and then it's like the guy gets destroyed. He's like, oh, and he punches the screen. It's great.
Yeah.
And then like mages can show up to help you, and a bard will come and sing your praises. It was really silly
That
and a lot of
sounds
fun.
like a lot of fun. I mean, do you think it has like a message behind it? And if so, like, what is the message?
I would say like I think sitting down, I originally thought the message would be like you know, like this is sort of a silly phenomenon, but I think it was like social justicing in general. But I think the overall message of the game after playing it was like, all of this is stupid as shit. Like everything that is going on, like this is silly.
Don't treat
And it was-
people like pieces of shit. Treat them like people.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
guy
'cause-
was like telling us that all the quotes he got for the game are just real
directly
quotes
from
he
the
found
internet.
on
Oh
the internet.
shit! Really? Wow.
Yeah.
It was really funny. It's a very simple, very cute game.
That sounds
And,
like fun. I'd play the shit out of that. That reminds
can
me.
be like,
real-time argument simulator. Hell yeah, absolutely.
You can be like,
Oh,
I provide you factual evidence on why you're wrong. And they're like, they completely ignore your factual evidence because their opinion is right. And you have to like pick a different like side to go at them to take them down.
Oh yeah, there's one of your
that sounds
options is
cool.
a dodge, so it's like a just a normal RPG, but you have like a dodge option, but it's the option's labeled something like block or unfollow, something like that. But if you do that, the guy will be like, "Oh, can't handle the argument, huh?" And so you can like decide either keep going. Oh yeah, it's pretty great.
You can like, if you're the bard, you can heal up by falling back to your subreddit. It's pretty great.
I like a lot.
It's
That's-
really funny.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Absolutely into that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I think it's being greenlit or something, but
If it
The
should
devs
be.
are really
I
cool,
think it's
too.
already been greenlit. Actually, I'm pretty sure it got through greenlight. Not that it takes
Yeah.
much to get through greenlight these days.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
I think
see.
I like just hearing the name. I would have assumed
Yeah,
that
it's greenlit.
the game was created to like attack a certain like group of people, but it sounds like it's more just attacking the whole idea of trying to argue with people on the internet in general,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah,
like
it-
Yeah.
how ultimately pointless it always winds up being.
Hey, you
And
know,
that's
maybe I'm reading too much into it, but isn't it very interesting that both the troll and the other person look exactly the same?
they're exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that that's not deliberate.
There's
Yeah.
it's I definitely thought sitting down that it was the idea that you're playing social justice warriors and you're a cleric or I thought it was like spoofing the whole idea of that, but it's totally not. It's very much like you're just trying to make points on the internet and some guy is always countering your points but getting aggressive about it. And so you have the choice to either get aggressive back or defend yourself or retweet his shenanigans, right? And each one of them, I think the Paladin was Twitter, the Bard was Reddit, Crendor, one of them was Facebook.
Yeah.
Like each of them is a different thing, and so
Yeah.
each of them has different powers. And it was
And
a
then sometimes
ton
like
of fun.
you'll get intervened by like the social justice sorcerer or the druid, and they ask you a question like, "What is
There's a
the best way
necromancer.
to create a good society?" It's like random.
And if
things
you
like
answer,
that.
there's no right answer. Like one of the questions was like, if you were in charge of society, what would be the people you got rid of? And it gives you only bad answers. And so it's sort of like
Yeah.
whatever you choose,
That's
you're screwed.
great. I fucking
Relax.
love that. You know, that's poking fun in all the right places. You know, it seems like it's poking fun at the notion of we don't have online debates. We don't have online discussions. We have online wars that involve people either shouting past each other or shouting at each other and just throwing punches always. And there's never anything good ever comes out of it. And it's really cool that a game's kind of tackling that and doing it in a funny and accessible way. Hell, for me, that game might be therapeutic. Like, I could maybe replace
Yeah.
my real Twitter with that game. You know, it's kind of like, you know, getting off a really bad opiate on a slightly less bad opiate. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. It's like hard drugs.
Like in this
That's my
screenshot,
endorsement.
the paladin is like talking about inequality and racism is incredibly relevant to resource distribution. And the intellectual troll says, I use a fallacy of relative privation.
Oh,
why don't
yes,
you
you're
care
bringing
this
that one
much
up.
about world hunger?
Oh yeah. Yep. That is a very real thing that we've seen over the last 6 months. You know, that's been all over the place.
Yep.
So, cool. Yeah, that seems like a nice piece of satire, and it looks like mechanically it's a lot of fun as well. Like really interesting, fast paced.
Yeah, that's definitely worth checking out.
Cool.
If you like the idea of StarCraft minus building bases, I think Boyd is a fun game.
Oh yeah, I keep
Boyd was
getting.
cool.
So Mike Rose, who was on one of my shows, who used to work for Gama Sutra, who now does the promo for Tiny Build, has been just like begging me to play that damn game. But it's it's a simplified team-based RTS, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, you are. I want to say you're kind of like little. Look, I'm gonna say you're little spermy babies, and you're like in like this
Okay.
primordial ooze kind of thing. That's what it looks like. And you go around, and there are different types of bases you can control, and you send those guys, and they have to beat it up. And then you can get like laser ones, or ones that slow time, or little like squid inky things, or giant manta rays that heal you, whatever it is. And you have to keep taking over the map, but you aren't building anything. You're just strategically planning how to take over the map and
It's
fight
a lot
your
of
opponent.
micromanagement.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
seems
So
a bit
it's
Galcon-esque, like in the way that the units work. Is that true?
Oh, I played this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, esque is right. Yes. Like it's very much
You're sending swarms
About-
at people.
yeah. It's about managing the swarm and then defending against. It's about pushing the attack, but defending against the aggressor. So Crendor and I played against each other, and like it's. There was one match where he was. I thought I had a plan, and I totally failed because I put all my forces on taking this middle point, and Crendor was like, doop, 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 and surrounded me, and I couldn't do anything. Like it's about just being smart and knowing what your like strategy is going to be and sticking with it. It's a lot of
I
fun.
was real bad at this game, but it's more fun to watch for me. I thought it was really interesting to watch just because of the way that like the different bases kind of work and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it does seem
it's
like
a-
they've taken the basic Galcon principle of essentially capturing nodes on a map and sending a swarm to do it, and it's like swarm versus other swarm. But they seem to have added unit types and different counters and things like that, so there's a bit more depth of strategy to it, so I can dig that.
yeah, and
you know,
the,
Galcon's
and the
a very
maps,
simple game.
the maps themselves have their own thing. So there's like one of those little circles you can take over. It's like a freezing trap. So anyone that gets near it like shoots out freezing things. There's teleporters. There's like a poison one, I think. There's a lot of cool stuff. So it's very interesting. I had a lot of
I
fun
thought
playing
it was
that game.
I thought that they kind of look like spermies, but I also thought that
I
they
told
looked
you.
kind of like little baby crabs because some of them have like the little hands.
Well,
and
they
they're just, like,
upgrade. The spermies upgrade
Yeah,
to
it's
baby
the
crabs.
upgraded ones.
Yeah, you start with the sperms, and they upgrade to baby crabs or manta rays or squid. Yeah,
Isn't that,
That
if you
was-
take the points that allow you to do that, right? Like
yeah,
if
yeah.
you
You have to
take,
take
you
you upgrade to that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Neat.
So it's almost like if it was an RTS, you had to like take control of a building. Like if it was a neutral barracks and people could like go and take the
that's
barracks
exactly
from
what
each
it
other.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was cool. Yeah. Oh, and what was that Smash one where they pick up the world and throw it at each other?
Check in, knock out.
What?
Yeah.
Check
that was
in,
really cool.
knock out. Is that
It's
it?
a really simple game where you are playing
There's
as
not even any footage
guests
of
at a
this.
hotel. You're guests at a hotel, and you are essentially
Here it
just
is.
like picking up the world around you and using it as weapons.
Okay.
And eventually the map disappears and you fall to your death. So it's a really quick, sort of smashy type game where you're using the world to fight each other. It was a lot of fun. It was very cool.
Yeah. Everybody playing it seemed like they were having a lot of fun playing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer right now. I've seen this art style quite a lot. I don't mind it. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost kind of Fez-like, I suppose, in nature.
Yeah.
Ish. That's like the closest I can maybe come up with. But yeah, it really is just like pick up the world and throw it at somebody. That's a nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Each character,
I like the way the level evolves throughout the match because obviously the level's breaking, so it's constantly changing.
each character has their own abilities. Like the guy who is in the fox suit has wings and can fly. The little tiny alien can control the boxes that he throws in midair. There's a woman who can throw 2 at once. There's a big giant guy that's just really hard to like knock around. There's a bunch of different characters in there that are really fun and sort of changes how you play it.
What's cute?
What else did we play, Crendor?
I played Guild of Dungeoneering.
Oh, that
first
game's
time.
great.
That game
Sorry,
is
can you
super
what's
cute.
the name of the game again?
Guild of Dungeoneering.
Guild
it's
of Dungeoneering. Okay.
Yeah, it's a dungeon building game that's card based. So you have like a little dude that you start with, and you don't play that dude. You're just trying to level that guy up and keep him alive and get him like to the ultimate treasure and defeat the boss.
Right.
So like you draw a certain number of cards every time, and there are seek cards, I think, that are part of the dungeon. There are hope cards that are like loot, and then there are the monster cards.
Right.
And so you want to put monsters in your path that you can beat so that you can like
That's
get
very
loot
Munchkin-esque,
and gain
that, isn't
levels.
It looks like
It's-
it, yeah.
Yeah, but like you get so screwed trying to build because you know where the treasure is. And so you're trying to like get the right cards to be able to build the dungeon so you can get to that treasure, and you get so screwed when you're just like, no, I need to get there.
Just get
And
right
they
there,
were
and I don't
super
quite have
cool.
the right room shape to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This
it's very cool.
Looks kind of great. Is this on an iPad? Because I saw like there was a thing on Touch Arcade that was previewing this.
It was on PC there.
What was this
might
game
be-
called?
But
I think
Guild
it
of
could be there.
Dungeoneering.
Guild of
So-
Dungeoneering.
So like the objective's really cool because besides getting that main treasure, he moves around to wherever other treasures are, or he just progressively moves one tile at a time to that big treasure.
Okay.
And so the objective is not only keeping him alive, but forcing him to fight guys around his level to level him up, because there's a timer, and after a certain time, a boss appears, and the boss will hunt him down and kill him.
Yeah, he gets
unless
really
he's
impatient,
prepared.
and he's like, I'm just gonna come find you. It's like a little funny too. They were asking me what I thought about it and if I had any feedback because I stayed at their booth for way too long. They came up to me and they were like, you've been here for a while. But they didn't have a timed demo. It was just, when you die, you're expected to walk away. And I hadn't died yet, so I was just there for a really long time playing this game. And they were like, how you doing? How you feeling about the game? Really, the only thing right now that I would say is that you start getting cards that are for a higher level than you can achieve in the amount of time you have. So like you start getting, level 4 and 5 monsters when you've still only had enough time to reach like level 2. And you're like, I don't know what to do with these except discard them.
Right.
But other than that, the game is super fun and really, really cute. And I know that they're planning on adding a bunch more like little dudes and stuff like that. So it's cute.
Yeah, you send him around to get like all the little treasures or items or shields or helmets or whatever he can get, and that's how he stays alive. And you just have to keep upgrading him and keep him fighting, but at the same time, you're actively trying to keep him alive. Like it's really cool. Like you're trying to hurt him, but keep him alive at the same. You're the dungeon master basically. Like help him experience this dungeon, but live through it without being.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Interesting.
I don't remember. There's so many other games. I just don't remember half of them.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
there's that Sonic game. It's like Sonic.
What? It's like Sonic or is
oh.
Sonic?
No,
like
he's
Sonic.
talking about Freedom Planet.
Oh,
He finally
that's
played
been out
Freedom
for
Planet.
ages. Yeah.
Oh.
We talked about
I
Freedom
didn't
Planet
know
already.
that.
Yeah, it's a good game. You
there's-
should check that out. It's more of like a Saturn-esque platformer. Jesse, you streamed it for ages, didn't you?
Yeah, that was like
game.
there's 2 hours of that. It's a lot of fun. It was a blast to play, and they're adding new character stuff and all sorts of cool things. So they were there for that.
Great soundtrack on that thing as well.
Yeah, soundtrack's fantastic.
Is like sports ball or whatever that's called. Like sports.
Oh, yes. It's not sports with friends. Sports ball. Shit.
I thought it was
I know
sports
what you-
ball.
Was it?
I
I
bet
don't
Google
know.
knows.
Yeah,
We were
absolutely.
playing it
It's-
on Wii U. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's.
And
Okay.
it was like
looking.
joust.
Up to 4
Yeah.
players take on the reigns of exotic birds.
Oh,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't really
So-
like that game.
That's because they got their ass kicked. That's because we destroyed them. They were like,
Isn't
"Man,
this
game's
just
stupid."
joust? Basically.
It's like
it's like-
joust, but you get balls
Oh, I've
into
played
the
this.
middle of the net thing.
Okay, so
Crendor didn't like it
joust
because we
crossed with
killed them.
football. Right.
It's not.
a
It's
dumb
not a
game.
super intuitive game, I don't think. But I don't think that it's necessarily supposed to be either. It's
It
supposed to
does
be
seem
one
like
of those
it's
games where
mocking
you're
the
like,
idea
what
of
am I
ridiculous
doing?
sports.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, you ride on different sized birds on teams, and you try to get. Not only are you trying to knock the other people out, but you're also trying to get the balls into the goal, which is in the middle of the screen. So you have to sort of angle it how you're going to hit the balls and stuff. Crendor's team just wasn't very good. We destroyed his team, and then after they were done, they were like, "Man, this game sucks." The devs right behind him, like, "Oh."
Oh.
Oh,
That game.
that's cruel.
I was
what?
like, I
hate
loved
this
it.
game, and you guys suck.
Oh.
I was like, that
You know
game was
what?
sucks.
Make
Don't
the
take their
controls
lunch
better.
money.
Crendor,
Make the
you're a
controls
terrible
better.
person.
They were just
Make the
reacting to
controls
getting their
better,
asses
and I won't
kicked.
be.
They were,
Are you sure you weren't
Nah,
just bad? Like,
They were bad.
there's
They were
always that
bad.
You're
possibility.
not bad.
They were bad. They were bad.
No.
Well, I mean, now's a good time to go to a break. We can come back. We can talk a little
Yeah.
bit more about the games we've been playing at PAX, and then we can talk about the games we've been playing this week, and then we can talk about video game news. And
Wow.
apparently, for some reason, you listen to 3 hours of this shit. I have no idea. But we do have a word from our sponsors. As we mentioned,
Oh,
we
Lord.
make a new ad every week. Some people have actually been looking forward to us advertising to them, which means you are truly lost. So, a word from our sponsor, Squarespace, and we will be back after the break with yet more on the Co-optional Podcast. Please do not go anywhere. Please, if you don't mind. Hi, Dodger. You look busy.
TB, don't bother me right now. This is a really important job.
What's the job exactly?
Mugs.
Mugs is not a job.
It is to me. You don't understand. I have thousands of mugs and no way to properly catalog them or share them with potentially millions of people online who are totally interested in them.
Okay, so 2 things. 1, have you considered therapy? 2, have you considered Squarespace?
Squarespace? Tell me about Squarespace. What is that?
Stop yelling! Squarespace lets you create a website for whatever you'd like. You can start a trial without even having to enter a credit card number, and if you head over to squarespace.com/cooptional, you can get 10% off your first purchase and support our podcast.
Mug functionality. Okay, tell me about mug functionality.
Squarespace offers unparalleled mug documenting functionality with no prior experience required.
Oh my god, the mugs are coming out of the walls. There's so many here. Oh my god, there are more at the door. What do I do?
I can offer you a Squarespace discount at squarespace.com/cooptional or this flamethrower.
There's only one answer to that question. Die, you monsters! Die!
On second thought, I think we should have stuck with Squarespace. Squarespace, create a site about something you love or despise. Get 24/7 support, enjoy a simple and powerful interface, and a site that works and scales beautifully on any device. Best of all, it's only $8 a month, and you can save 10% on your first purchase at squarespace.com/cooptional. Thanks to Squarespace for their generous support of the Co-optional Podcast. Squarespace. Start here, go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. The music that you just heard in the break, if you happen to be listening to the live stream, is by Ben Prunty from the Gravity Ghost soundtrack. Ben Prunty's the guy that made the music for FTL, which everyone loves, rightfully so. Can I, before we do a little bit more of that, can I talk a bit about Gravity Ghost?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so that game's incredible. So that's it's hard to describe why, I suppose, without kind of playing it, but I can try anyway. It is a game that you are a ghost, and you are in space for some reason. You don't know why that is. And you have to get through the levels, and the way that you do so is by using gravity to slingshot your way around planetary bodies in the levels in order to collect the star. So it's kind of Mario Galaxy-esque in a way. And that doesn't sound particularly fancy until they start adding in different powers which will let you affect the way gravity works, and also different terraforming abilities which let you change planets into different kinds of planets. So like, say, there's a planet with a door in the middle that you can't reach. You can terraform it to a water planet, so then you can dive into the door and get through it. And there's also this element where you have to reunite the spirits of animals with their bones and help them onto the afterlife by cuddling them, which is kind of sweet.
What?
Yeah, seriously. But the really special thing about it, I mean, that all sounds pretty good in and of itself, but the really special thing about it is the story is phenomenally good. Like, it's this mystery as to why exactly all this has happened. Like, it appears like your planet may have been destroyed in some way. You got to try and figure out why. And it goes through these just really touching personal kind of cutscenes where the main character is interacting with people she knows before she became a ghost. And all of the writing is just so good. It's got some great voice actors behind it. Ashley Birch voice acts in it and just a perfect job. Like, absolutely impeccable. The main character has this nice flippancy to her that I really like. And, she doesn't appear to be... She just doesn't remind me of any other character. Like, she seems unique. And I think it's just down to really, really good quality writing. And it's the combination of all of those things, like these really fun mechanics, you just kind of flying through space, slingshotting your way around planetary bodies, which is super fun in and of itself, with the idea that every time you reunite one of these animals with their body and help them pass on happily to the afterlife, you get another cutscene to try and figure out what's going on. And there's all sorts of other things. Yeah, and it's like 100 levels. Some of them can be beaten very fast, because obviously, like, if you get it right the first time, you can nail it easily. But I think it's an absolutely awesome little indie game. And with Ben Parenti's soundtrack. Cool. It's really great. I'm looking forward to beating it to find out what on earth is happening. Like, there's a genuine sense of mystery that I'm really intrigued by. So, yeah, I'm going to keep talking about Gravity Ghost, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, have a look at Gravity Ghost if you're looking for a game along those lines. It's on Steam. I think it's $15 at the moment. Cool. Let's go back to talking about stuff you played, Pax. Is that it?
I think that was it.
We talked a bit about you guys all play Grey Goo, right?
I bought it, but I haven't played it yet.
Jesse's played Grey Goo,
I have it too. I just haven't. I mean, the stuff I played was the game's beautiful. Like,
it's a nice looker.
It looks great. I'm a little disappointed that the stuff I got to play at PAX really didn't show me the stuff I kind of wanted to see in the game. But I mean, I want to play as the goo. I want to be the goo. Is what I want to be. I don't want to experience things I've experienced before. I want to be the goo, and I want to destroy stuff. I will say that the reaction a lot of people had was a lot of people treated it like it was when, if you remember when StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty first came out, and people were blown away by the game and the cutscenes and everything. It's that same reaction. People are really, really excited to play this game, which I think is good, because there hasn't been an RTS like this in a long time.
Yeah.
So
the last RTS, like at least big RTSs we've got some of the stuff that's a little bit harder to get into, like Wargame, which is very much kind of realistic real-time strategy. And then, of course, we have stuff like Company Heroes 2, which is a different kind of RTS, very much so, the way that it plays. But we don't have a traditional real-time strategy where it's build a base, build a bunch of units, go kill this dude. And that's kind of what Grey Goo is. It reminds me quite a lot of Command & Conquer. It's got a few ideas taken from different places, like base building, at least for a couple of the races, is very similar to 2160. The goo isn't similar to anything that I know of. The way that the goo plays is really strange. You start off with a mother goo, and this goo needs to go around collecting resources. Whereas the other two guys, they build mines and they build refineries, basically, to extract, and they're very stationary. But the goo's hypermobile. And that's the goo's biggest advantage, because you can move around, and it's hard to find you. Like, you can't rush the goo, because the goo's probably not where you expect the goo to be in the first place.
You can't rush the goo,
Can't rush the goo, man.
Can't
Absolutely.
rush the goo.
You got to take it slow.
Everyone says the goo's slow, which is great for me. I like the slower pace. Like,
okay, you're gonna hate the goo then. You want to play any of the other two races? The thing about playing the goo properly, you have to move constantly between resource pools. Whereas, like, it takes quite a lot of micro. Like, you've got to be a little bit quick. Like, you can't just leave them lying around, because you're gonna earn less resources than you would if you kept moving. If you can handle that, you'll love the goo. The cool thing about the goo is that you have to focus less on the idea of, like, the complexities of macro of building an army, because you spawn off either a small or a large protein, and then you click on one of the 4 unit types, and it instantly builds them. So, like, you build a small protein, and he's like, I want 4 delvers. Or drovers is what they call it. I keep getting it wrong every time, that unit name. I want 4 drovers, which are these little basic units that have kind of a shotgun that comes out of their face, because why the hell not? So you click that, they instantly morph into 4 units and go. You don't have to worry about waiting for them to build or anything like that. So you can be really adaptable and pull off some really annoying shit, like put artillery on a hill and have them just goop everything. It's the worst. Oh god. Like, you're just moving your army through, like, nothing's happening. It's like, yeah, suddenly, goo from the sky, your entire army melts, and you just flip the fucking table. It's the worst. Yeah, you just get gooped. You do. And they're the only race that can climb hills, so you need, like, a flying scout to look for them. And if you don't have
I
one,
want to play the goo so
you're
bad.
fucked.
Wait, so what is the downside to playing the goo, then?
Well, the micro...
Sounds like there are a lot of upsides.
There are some upsides. The problem is that you have to expand a lot more, and it's harder to defend your stuff. So, like, with the other two races, there's one race which is very much about build the smallest, most compact, defensible base you can, because everything is linked by power conduits, but if you kill one of those conduits, you shut down everything. So it's in your best interest to make a compact base that has as few of those as possible. Another one's kind of modular, so they can expand a bit, but obviously you still want to kind of be defensive and build walls. The goo, you don't have any defenses. There are no static defenses for the goo at all. So the goo has to keep moving.
Gotcha.
The goo's like, if the mother goo is found, the mother goo can fight, but and she's very good at it, but she moves very slow. So you can't, like, if the guy just starts moving backwards and shooting at you, you're in trouble. And if you lose a mother goo, that's like, not only do you lose, that's like losing a factory and a refinery at the same time, because the goo does both. So yeah, there are plenty of disadvantages. It's also the hardest race to play. I would say the hardest race to get, like, really, really good at. So I think I haven't noticed any balance issues so far, but then again, I haven't played enough of it. But I played a bunch of the campaign. I played a bunch of skirmishes. The only complaint I've got about that game is it's a bit slow. Like, compared to StarCraft 2, it's a bit slow. But I think actually that's a plus for some people, because they don't want a really super fast-paced StarCraft 2. Oh god, 300 APM. That's what you got to do in order to be effective. You don't. Not in Grey Goo. Like, you can do it a lot slower. It's got a really nice interface where everything's, like, bound to QWER. So if you play, like, Dota-style games, it's instantly familiar. So
That's really cool.
yeah,
That's cool, yeah.
it's a really nice game. It's really good. Like, it's a classic RTS in the classic style. It's got a great campaign. The CG work was apparently done by the guys that worked on Lord of the Rings. It's fucking great. It's
great.
Blizzard
Really
level
cool.
quality, awesome CG. And it's got a great soundtrack by Frank Lepaki that did all the Command & Conquer soundtrack. Yeah, it's selling really
Put on
well on Steam
Steam?
right now. Obviously, people want RTS again. About fucking time. Let's get some on here. Let's go.
Yeah.
All about the RTS. All about that.
All about that base.
Yep.
All about
The buttery
that
biscuit
base.
base. So that's Grey Goo. I want to hear a bit more
I don't-
about Dreadnought. How much did you play of that? Because you mentioned it for about 5 seconds, and that's maybe the game I'm most interested in right now.
All right. Well, Dreadnought is a game where basically it's 5v5, like I said, and you pick giant battle space cruisers, your capital ships, basically.
Yes.
And you're going against another team of capital ships. And the choices that we had available were the Dreadnought, which is this big giant-ass ship that has missiles and has a warp drive, and the warp drive lets you, it's sort of like a blink, but it's like a really slow-ass blink, because your ship is very slow.
Yeah.
It's huge, it's defensible, but it's slow. And then and that lets you, like, warp up right next to dudes. I crashed into one guy, and we both took a ton of damage at one point, but I killed him because he was like, I'm not prepared, right? There's another ship that is, I don't think it was the Corvette. Whatever it is, it heals, but also has, like, a tactical laser, like a
Right.
phaser beam.
Okay.
There's another ship that's essentially a giant turret that fires a super laser out the front of it.
So it's an artillery base, yeah.
And then there's all these different ships that you can add to your essentially your I don't want to say squadron. I guess fleet would be a better term. And the battle that we fought on, or the battlefield we fought on, which I think might be the only one that was available, I don't know, it was like above a planet, but it was like a factory world with mountains. And so you would use...
There is another one. We're actually watching Angry Joe's footage right now, and he actually has one that's kind of in an asteroid field with some space bases.
Yeah, all right. I see it. So you can go up, you can go down, you can hide behind things, you can lure them out, you can get line of sight and fire missiles from across the map if you want to. It's very strategical. The thing I think it's great, I think the biggest point of strategy in this game is the energy management system,
Okay.
which I think, Joe, it popped up there, where it's that little thing in the middle of the screen. You can switch between your shields, your weapons, or...
so it's kind of like X-Wing-esque. That's cool.
Yes. And that determines the fight as well. And you want to be doing that. The thing that we learned while playing is if you don't do that, you're going to get screwed. So if you're under heavy assault, switch to shields. If you want to get someplace fast, you can turn the engines on, I think was the third option. I never used it, so I don't know what it is. Or you can use the weapons. And you also have an energy bar as well. So that decreases while you're doing that. And it affects all your other systems. And so you have to keep going back and forth and changing. And
I love juggling energy bars like that. I think that's a really
Yeah.
cool idea that's underused these days.
so it's very, very cool. It was a lot of fun.
It looks good. It looks pretty, I gotta admit. There's a lot of detail in the ships as well. I like the way that the turrets slowly move along with you. Like, so
Yes.
It feels like tall ships in space in a way. Like it's like a kind of an ancient like sea battle that's going on right there.
And it feels that way, but it also feels like it's very, very team focused. Just the experience that I had playing with for the random dudes. If you go in there without a plan, you're gonna get just slaughtered. Like it very much felt like, you need a healer, you need a guy who can has a quick ship.
Sure.
You need at least one big giant dreadnought. Like you have to have a mix of everything, or you're gonna get crushed. And it's something that we learned right away because we all went in with dreadnoughts. We're like, let's do this. And it was a mess because our ships were so slow and the enemy was just whizzing around us. And so it's something that it took a while to get. And we would have won, again, had some dude not gone 0-15 guy. And it was really crazy. I was like, how can you be that
karma.
bad?
That's your karma for the racing game.
Which
your
racing game is
karma
that?
for the racing game at E3, where you lost that guy's T-shirt.
I'll never forgive myself for that. I feel so bad. Oh well.
It's karma.
I'm not good racing. He should have known. It was a ton of fun. I think Dreadnought is definitely a game to look forward to. Like I said earlier, I think the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is I say this with all games that are PvP and of this type, is longevity. Like I feel like how long can you keep going back to this and keep playing it that would keep you interested in doing it? Right? Because after a while, it's like, all right, well, I just had another space fight. That was fun. Right?
Well, it's a free-to-play game, which means obviously there's going to be a progression path of some description. It's not... This is not a fully original game because there's a game called Star Conflict, which doesn't really deal with capital ships so much. It deals with frigates and corvettes and fighters. But it seems like a very similar kind of idea where you've got a team... You see exactly what's going on. You put your team composition together, and then you fight. And then once you blow up, you blow up. It's like Counter-Strike, and that's kind of the end of the round. And then you earn a bunch of currency, which lets you unlock different weapons and upgrade existing weapons, and then get different ships. And the concern of that, of course, is that everyone's always going to say, "Well, what if it's pay to win?" Well, the problem is you're not going to be able to sell a game like that and keep a community going if it doesn't have a really low barrier to entry. So, as people have found out, unless you are Titanfall, and even if you are Titanfall, you still have this problem. If you sell a multiplayer-only game with a price tag up front, you can kill your game that way. Because if you don't have a large enough player base, it is a catch-22. Because people won't play your game because it doesn't have a large enough player base. But you don't have a large enough player base because people won't play your game. And that word gets around really fast. So, yeah, there's a risk it ends up being pay to win, of course. But obviously, a lot of people have a really weird idea of what pay to win actually means. It's like, oh, you can get an experience boost? Pay to win! No, pay to speed things up slightly.
The way this game worked when we played it, I think was very smart. When you die, you get it's like a 10-second respawn or something like that. So you get to learn from your mistakes immediately, and the respawn lets you choose a new ship. So if you suck with a ship, you can learn, all right, well, I'm going to go back to this one.
Or if the composition
other team
isn't right, you can shift things over. Yeah.
I think they did that was really smart of them. I will say, chat's right, it reminded me of a lot of a game that was, StarCraft 2 had it on the arcade, where you played as
Star Battle.
Yeah.
I used to play
just like that.
That was the first really good, StarCraft 2 mod was Star Battle. I played a shitload of Star Battle.
It feels just like that. It's great.
Cool. I'm up in that. I'm up in that grill. I'll tell you that for a fact.
What was that other space game that we saw?
Boo! No more space games. Boo! Phantom Breaker.
There's only one more.
Phantom Breaker.
It was that one game with the guy was playing it and everyone crowded around him, and he's just flying his ship, doing missions and stuff.
I swear to God. You mean Rebel Galaxy?
The one that we talked about half an hour ago.
Oh, yeah, that's probably
God,
it.
you are useless. Why do we even bring you onto the show?
Because I provide quality mugs, like this Eeyore mug.
We don't want any more mugs. We've already dealt with
Eeyore.
that.
With
And
your
there's a little
face on
snail on it.
Yeah.
Look at the snail.
We need to get you a Squarespace mug. That's how it's going to be.
Squarespace.
Don't worry, I'm putting together my website right now with Squarespace.
Indeed.
I could make an Eeyore mug website if I wanted to with Squarespace. It'd be a great thing.
Absolutely.
True.
Was there any? There were so many games there. I'm trying to remember the ones that stood out. That's driving me crazy. Did you didn't really get to play much, did you, Dodger?
No, but I would love to talk about Phantom Breaker.
We can talk about Phantom Breaker.
I think we covered pretty much everything we played.
Sure, all
for
right,
PAX.
whatever.
All right, that was PAX.
Yeah.
There you go. Hour and a half of
That was
PAX.
PAX. The end.
Cool. Phantom Breaker. Yeah. Talk to me about
Phantom
Phantom Breaker.
Breaker is awesome for
Yes, it
anybody who played the Scott Pilgrim game and has been like, God, I wish there was another game like that was just like a side-scrolling beat 'em up in that awesome sort of art style. You should totally play the new Phantom Breaker game. It's so fun. It's like Scott Pilgrim if it was made
If it was
in
an
Japan.
anime, yeah.
Yeah. It's great. But TB, you were saying that it's originally just like a standard
An actual
fighting game.
Yeah, I was told by
And then
some
they turned
of
it
the
into a
viewers
brawler.
that the original Phantom Breaker was actually a fighting game, which explains a lot of the mechanics. 'Cause, like, what really got me about it is that it had a lot of in-depth mechanics, whereas a lot of brawlers are just like hit the button and kill shit. This had like a bunch of different specials, different special moves. It had guard canceling. It had emergency mode, which is essentially a combo breaker. It had Phantom Breaker, overdrive mode, and a bunch of other stuff that's very fighting game-esque. And
Yeah.
that's what I really liked about it, because it means the game isn't as repetitive, and you're leveling up as well to unlock a lot of that stuff. So you're gradually, it does the really stupid thing that a lot of games do at the start, where it's like, here, have all the abilities. Your powers are now taken away for arbitrary reasons. Re-earn them again. I fucking hate that.
I'm kind of okay with that because then when I look at the talent tree, I know
You
what
know
I'm
what everything
choosing.
is.
Yeah,
That's a fair
So-
point. I think there's
I kind
maybe
of-
better ways of doing that. Like you could, I think, like say the way Devil May Cry did it, where it just let you try out every move and showed you
Is this
whatever.
a
you
Vita
did.
game?
Sorry, it was
Is this
on
a Vita
Vita. I think it was on 360. It's now on PC as well.
All right,
on
I was
my
about to say if it's
Vita?
on Vita, I'll never play this, but
on
I
PC.
want to play it. The video I looked up, it shows first off this little chibi anime girl beating up two guys who look like a cross between the Borg and a cat girl.
Yeah.
which I
They got
want
some
that
weird
so-
enemies. There's
I
a
want that
giant
so
fat guy
badly.
that assaults you with cake. It's there. That is
Yeah,
a real
the
enemy in that game.
The concept of it is that you're transported into a parallel world where everybody is just so beautiful looking.
Can you play online with people?
I don't know.
Only
That would
on
be
the
fun.
Vita version. This is the biggest problem. They don't have online play on
What?
PC.
What? That would be awesome.
Ooh, that'd be
Ooh.
great. I'd be like, enough
Game
podcasts.
is
Let's
so
go
fun.
play. Ooh.
It's really fun. And like TB was saying, I love that when I'm playing, I'm constantly trying to memorize like what does what combo and how to do different moves. And like sometimes you'll stumble onto a move and you're like, oh, how do I do that? And I never really felt that way with Scott Pilgrim because that was more of a just like punch, 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 kick, punch, 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 kick, kick, kick.
A lot of brawlers fall into that. That's as much as I love Castle Crashers for all of the really interesting levels and crazy shit that goes down. The combat is fucking repetitive. It has no depth at all, and that's a real problem because you just get bored of it. It's like it was like playing Turtles in Time Reshelled. I remember when that came out. We were really enthusiastic about it, and then under level 3, I was just like. You know, it's the same old shit. But you know, games like this do it better. You know, so I'm happy with Phantom Breaker. I think it's actually a lot of fun, and it's
It looks very cute.
yeah, all the four main
fun.
characters are all like basically the magical girls, essentially like anime magical girls. There's one with a sword, one with a spear, one with a big hammer in a maid outfit, and one with
Yeah,
daggers.
I played the little ninja girl with daggers.
Yeah,
She's a
and
cutie.
they all have some different moves, and apparently there's some unlockable characters as well that you can get.
Does one have a
so-
staff?
Well,
Is there
there's
a
one
nerd
with a
girl with a staff?
she's got
There's
a spear.
one with a like a spear.
Yeah, I play the one with the spear. She's
Not
pretty
like a
good. She's
quarter
got a lot of
staff,
reach.
though.
Yeah,
That's
she's
that
good.
distance. That's that reach.
Yep, gotta have
That's why you always pick
Reach.
Donatello in Ninja Turtles. Reach is important.
But you have like those dash moves that just like take out a bunch of people and stuff
Yes.
too. It's so
Yeah.
satisfying.
You can like
You
fire
still get
the
that.
blue fire on the ground.
Yeah, you still get that really satisfying feeling of like I am destroying
people. Yes.
What is it?
It's really fun. Phantom Breaker.
I'm buying this right now. It's getting
Yep.
bought
Yeah,
right now.
you
on
should.
Steam.
You'll like it.
It's
I
good
played
enough
it for a
single
little
player.
too
Like
long.
it has local co-op on PC, so if someone's around your house, you can play with more people. But it's good enough on its own, like as just a single player brawler. So yeah,
down.
I like it a lot. It's just you want to beat a bunch of dudes and do 200 hit combos, you can do that shit. It's great.
Literally the only reason why I play Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah. Brawlers are cool. We don't have
Man.
that many great ones, and there was a lot of the ones that do come out, like that fucking bear game with Fist of Awesome. It's so fucking repetitive.
God.
Holy shit.
But you're talking a very different thing.
No, not at all. But yeah, Fist of Awesome is like, hey, we're really funny. No, you have a really boring brawler. Please, no more of that.
There's
what else?
Actually, never mind.
I played freestyle basketball too.
Oh Christ!
Wow.
Okay,
Freestyle
all right.
basketball.
Tell
is
us
a great
about
game.
that.
So, it's a game that came out in 2004 in
Oh, this
Korea,
is relevant.
and it's been updated. No, it's been updated to the second version, and it's like street basketball 3-on-3. I live streamed it. You have various character choices, such as Derek, and Derek. And there's some other guys. There's this one guy who's just like this giant, like, white guy who's like a center. And there's this like super skinny, like Korean guy, like point guard. You got all sorts of characters you can choose from. And then you go in and you play street basketball matches with people. And it's a very intense game. Very intense game. There's also a Korean pop music at the main menu screen.
Would you say that it plays more to like the seriousness of street basketball, or does it have fun with itself?
I'd have to say a little of both. I think it has fun with itself, but I also think it shows the hard life of street basketball and really what these players go through on the streets. And
you would say it highlights sort of an urban example of what a game really means to them, you know, when it comes to needing sort of an escape from perhaps what their normal day-to-day life is like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, spot on. Brilliant.
TB, I think TB died. I don't.
God, that was boring. Holy
I think you killed him. I think you killed him.
I carried all the teams I was on. I won MVP like 4 times. I got all the rebounds. This one guy like kept throwing the ball away. I was like, no. So
is this
if you
one
love
of those games where you have to pretend that you're Korean? Or they'll kick you out.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to pretend that you're Korean. You don't have to pretend you're Korean.
Just will me the rest, TB. Put it in the will. Give me the rest. I'll join you soon, buddy.
All right.
Well, I know that in Kansai Collection, that Ship Girls card game, you can play it, like you can get onto the Japanese servers, but you'll totally get reported if you're like, hello, I'm an American playing Cancol. I'm so excited. They like don't want you there, which is super weird to me.
That game, there was an article, I can't remember if it was a Kotaku article or possibly like Polygon or something. I don't know where it was from. Hoping it wasn't from Polygon. They suck. But it was an interesting article because it was a guy that played that game and apparently like beat like the most hard thing, and it took him like 4 days of constantly trying to do it. And he just kept doing it, and eventually like he got this lucky crit, like this ridiculously lucky crit from one of the ship girls, and he went insane. Like it was just like tears of joy and craziness. It was actually kind of cool to watch. I
hear it's actually like a really fun game. I've only watched the anime. So,
yeah, it is fucking
from my perspective,
bizarre,
it's a story about girls who have the spirits of old Japanese warships inside of them and are just trying so hard to do their best and make best friendships. That's what the anime is about.
Yeah, it is that silly. Like, it's just like, what?
It's girls with spirits of ships in them. The girls who shoot arrows, the arrows go into the sky and then turn into planes. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's
makes
so
no
great.
fucking sense.
Japanese, am I right?
Freestyle basketball is a lot more sensical than that.
Oh, Christ. Let's talk about Dying Light, please. Just
okay.
Talk about Dying Light. Jesse, you've played Dying Light.
Yes.
Yeah, you play quite a bit of that. Yep. I've been playing since they got review code to us 12 hours before launch. Well done, guys, you fuckers. It's probably Warner Brothers again. It's they claimed there was like some issue with it, but well, we'll talk about the gameplay on it first. Like, what did you reckon to it from what you played?
I will say that it's what I wanted from Dead Island. Dead Island progressively pissed me off the more I played it.
Yes.
I like Dying Light the more I play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has things in it that I think Dead Island should have had, but I think it's very much in the exact same vein. Like, they're parallels of each other.
Oh, yeah. Like, it is Dead Island mixed with Mirror's Edge, basically.
Yes. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But the parkour elements are great.
Yeah,
I think
I
some
like
of the
them.
instructions given to you about the parkour elements are a little like there's one part where they're training you to set traps, and while they're doing it, they're telling you about how to jump from pole to pole and do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't give you in the game the proper example of how to do it. They just say do it, and that jump like
I know
it's
the first
sort of-
time.
it's
I
sort of
know
like
it's
a
really
learn for
intuitive.
yourself kind of thing. I think that the problem is that later in the game, the learn for yourself of like doing it helps you a lot. Like I think that's the one thing. In the beginning, it's a pain in the ass, but once you do it, you know what you can do and can't do. And I think that helps a lot more than like, here is the tutorial. You have done the tutorial. Thank you. I think it helped a lot, and so I think the gameplay itself, though, besides the parkour stuff, is Dead Island. Like,
Yes,
I mean,
very much so.
that's exactly what it is. You go
Yeah.
from quest to quest, mission to mission,
Same
location to
melee
location,
system.
save someone, get something new, have the same weapon. You can break the weapon. Now you got to go repair the weapon.
You break the weapons
Same thing.
really quick as well, actually. They go fast. You can repair them sort of mid-fight with weapon parts, but also you could just grab something that's nearby, and you'll find like there's a lot of shitty weapons just lying around. It's like, this is a plank with nails in it. Use that. And there's some traps around as well. I do like kicking zombies into spikes. That's fun. There's a bunch of spike. It reminds me of Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. And you can just keep doing it. Like, they'll just pile up. It's great. We had this zombie which fell over and just went face first into the trap. Like, it tripped over something, it just died. It was kind of great. I spent $1,300 on a French wrench, which is a
Good
wrench.
job.
It's not a dildo. Sounds like it. It's a
Yes,
it's a
go
wrench.
on.
It's called the French wrench. It's a purple quality wrench that does 50 damage and has like 60 durability. I expected it to be a little bit more flashy than it was, but it is a French wrench. So I beat up zombies with it. It takes me 3 hits to kill them.
It's like a tongue twister.
The French wrench? Yeah, absolutely.
French wrench.
Yeah.
The
French
thing that I think I figured out is that it's not necessarily about fighting the zombies in this one. It's more about distracting, trapping, that kind of stuff. Like,
You'll run
if
out of
you
weapons
take them-
quick if you just take them on, because they keep coming.
Yeah,
they don't
you
fucking
can't do
stop.
that.
Yeah. You want to take
I
out a
think-
few because they're lootable. Like, it's a good way to get some parts, but I would never, like, fight a horde under any circumstances. At least not at
And
the
it's-
start.
the really great deceptive part about the game is when you're playing during the day, you can throw like sparklers and all sorts of, you can distract them. The zombies are dumb as shit. Like they're just like, "Brr, zombie." But at night, it's a different game entirely. And you're basically like the prey at night. And so it becomes very dark and shit is out to get you constantly. And I think that makes it entirely, like, it takes it up another notch. And I think that's great. I think they did a bang up job with that part. So I can get behind it just for the night part alone, but it's still, again, if you didn't like Dead Island, I will say you may not like this as well. It's better than Dead Island, I'll give it that, but it's still very much a parallel to Dead Island.
Yes. There is not an original bone in that game's body, from what I can tell. Not one. Like, the parkour is very Mirror's Edge-esque, and apparently the more you level it up, the more it becomes Mirror's Edge. Like, it starts off a little bit clunky, like it takes you a little while to climb up and stuff like that, but as you level up your agility, you unlock new agility skills, the way you basically become Spider-Man at that point. Like, you're climbing up things super fast, you're sliding through everything. But what I was impressed by is even at the start, the parkour feels natural. Like, it's really nicely put together. It's never done a thing that I haven't asked it to, which is more than I could fucking say for Assassin's Creed. Like, I think
true.
it's a lot simpler than Assassin's Creed's parkour, but simultaneously, it just works. Like, all the time. I've always managed to jump at the right thing. I think some people didn't realize. I was actually watching IGN play it, and they didn't seem to understand that you have to look kind of directly at the thing you want to grab onto before you do it. And if you don't do that, you don't grab onto it. And they were like, this isn't working. It's like, it is. You're just not doing it right. And it also informs you in the tutorial that you actually have to look at the
When you run across the skyscrapers and stuff to catch the kid, it pretty much tells you what to do and learn how to do.
Yeah, there's
do
a
the
tutorial
parkour.
in the first 20 minutes that teaches you all of that. So
Yeah, you don't even see zombies. Like, you see zombies in a cutscene, and then you don't see them again for like 20 some minutes in the game.
Yeah, because you're dealing with some stuff, and then when you
Yeah.
eventually go outside, you end up dealing with the zombies right there. I haven't experienced enough of the night cycle to really know what's going on. I was actually kind of disappointed because they script the first night cycle and you just go to bed, basically. And that was a little bit disappointing. But I think I'm coming up on the first real night cycle now. And apparently it is not okay to fight zombies at night. It is not fucking alright at all. You need to run like a motherfucker. Stay on the roofs.
That's why you set up all the traps.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way you can survive at night if you're out in the open, like if you can get back to one of the bases or whatever, you can survive and live in there and fight in there if you want.
That was our song. That was our Dodger has dropped from the call song and everything's gone horribly wrong. But we're back.
Wait, it was only me? I was the only one that dropped?
We don't know what it is.
I think we all did.
Yeah, we all kind of just got it fell apart.
I was here.
The stream definitely died, so
yes,
this was
it did.
not my fault.
There's an issue on my end as well,
Finger
so...
wag.
It was like a micro drop. It was a bit weird. Okay, so yeah, back to the point. Dying Light. So yeah, at night, it's apparently a nightmare. You don't want to be dealing with it.
Yeah, you don't. All the traps and stuff you set up. What I was saying is like the only way you can survive at night, TB, is by remembering where those traps are and going back to places you've been. If you try to get to some place new, you're gonna die every time without fail because they will hunt you down. And
they can climb at night, right?
Oh, they can come after your ass. They will track your butt down.
Okay.
I would also say, be careful if you have friends who have the game.
Oh, because they can invade as the hunter, right?
Yeah.
You can turn that. You can turn that off. You can actually
you
like.
can, but that's boring, and it's fun to out of nowhere be like, the hunter has entered the game, and it's like, no,
shit,
no, and their whole life goal is to find you and kill you.
Yeah.
And you can't hurt them unless you hurt them with ultraviolet light.
Right.
And so it's a mess. It's a mess. There's a lot of really cool stuff in the game, and I think comparing it to stuff like Mirror's Edge is a good thing. Like to say like the parkour is like Mirror's Edge. That's great. That's like a good comparison. But you're right. Like there's nothing transcendently new about the game. It's like if you played another game, you play this game too.
It's a recipe with very familiar ingredients. That's kind of, but that doesn't make it a bad game. Like it's a good solid title. Like it's probably, I wouldn't say it's the best thing Techland's ever made because they made Call of Juarez, which is really really good. But it's better. It's a better game than Dead Island. I'll tell you that. Agreed. I like the invasion idea as well. There's some weird shit going on with the PC version. I found. I was actually doing testing like
problems, right?
Yeah, it's like I was up at like 6 a.m. doing fucking testing for this shit. Like I had problems last night. I was trying to figure it out because I was going to do my port report, and then simultaneously something went horribly wrong with it. Like it seemed like they patched it yesterday. It was running just fine, and then it wasn't suddenly. So we're not really sure what's up with it, but I found the main culprit for frame rate is view distance in a big way. Like you turn view distance up to maximum, you're going to cut your frame rate in more than half. But here's the thing, like having it on minimum barely impacts the visual experience. Like the only thing you're going to really notice is that some really distant scenery kind of fades into view and the trees at like a really, really long distance are a bit less detailed. That's it. But the game seems
bad.
Yeah, like there's no situation where I've had like a zombie pop in front of me because of view distance. Doesn't happen. You can see zombies from even on minimal view distance from fucking all the way over there. No problem.
Yep.
So I think it's rendering way more than it should be. I think that's like what's happening. It's rendering stuff that you can't even fucking see.
You might even say that's a dying lightmare.
Jesus shit.
Get it? It's like a nightmare, but it's a lightmare.
Fucking hell.
Can we replace him with his cat?
Yes, I'm all fucking for that. Yeah.
We talk about Honeypop yet or Honeypop?
I was gonna say, can we talk about Honeypop?
Yeah, let's just conclude on Dying Light before we talk about Honeypop.
Yes,
it seems pretty good. Like there's definitely some people that are having problems with the PC version and things like that. But as long as if you turn the view distance down, it seems to run fine. But SLI doesn't work properly in that game yet. So if you've got more than one graphics card, you're not going to benefit too much from it yet, and they need to sort that out. So. It's another Techland release with more problems, but for most people it seems to be running okay. And the game is pretty good. Like, it's not going to set the world on fire, but it's solid. Like, it's competent at what it does. And it's not like it's not fun, because it fucking is. I don't think sliding into zombies and kicking them to spikes is actually going to get old, but we'll see. I've got a recipe for, like, some electric weapon that's, like, get a long knife, a short knife, and a 230-watt battery. I'm like... All right, let's fucking do it. So I'm looking forward to building that. And
Yes.
from what I understand, you can make some stupid shit just like in Dead Island, which was the best part of Dead Island. Building, it's like, this is a +5 electric spiked wrench of zombie slaying.
And
I'm
you
like,
can
yeah.
make that. And you
Yes.
can make that.
Yep, so I'm all in for that. Plus the writing's a lot better and the characters are more interesting. Like, everyone has a really cool accent, which is something that a lot of... I'm just getting sick of hearing American accents. I'm sorry, I'm just fucking done.
I think that's my favorite part, is that it's basically where the fake Olympics was held, and that's where the outbreak broke out. So it's people from all over the world in this one area.
Yeah, so
and
it's
they
really
quarantine.
diverse and interesting, and there's lots of really cool characters that speak in really cool ways. So...
And it explains why most of the people still alive are like most of the characters are like super physically fit people. And it explains like how could they do parkour? Because they're all freaking
cool.
Olympians.
They were Olympians, yeah. There's like one of the main characters is a female MMA fighter, like my understanding, or
she kicks
kickboxer.
ass, yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
So it works really well.
All right, okay, Honeypop.
Yes.
You haven't played it yet, right, TB?
No, I'm supposed to be doing the game with Jen.
You are
at
missing
some
out,
point.
buddy.
What are you doing?
Everyone's playing Honeypop right now for some reason.
Yeah, isn't that weird? That's super weird to me.
I think it's
I'll
just it's
explain
got
why.
around, like it really has, like just in a way like people are like, oh, this game looks really weird, and then suddenly it's like everyone starts playing it and realizes there's this addictive puzzle element to it or something.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Is like underneath the anime bullshit, there's like the
Nope.
puzzle element, and you just keep
Nope.
playing forever. What,
Incidentally,
Jesse?
I am flaunting Twitch's rules right now by streaming a small part of Honeypop, which they explicitly told me not to do, so
Nope.
ha ha ha. Go on.
Take that, Twitch.
No,
As long as there
here's
aren't
the
any
deal.
nipples, we're fine.
I don't believe
What?
there are. I think this is Jesse's video, so I'm pretty sure there's no nudity.
There might be
No,
nipples then.
I covered it with little Jesse faces. All the nudity
course
was
you
covered
did.
with Jesse faces.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Here's the deal. I don't know what people are telling you, TB, that it's all an excuse to pretend that they're playing a match game. No, that's not the case at all. The match game, the more you pick up girls, the more match game dates you go on, the harder it becomes. And eventually, it becomes too much of a pain in the ass to keep doing. I don't care enough about banging these girls in order to figure out, like, play these games. Because eventually it becomes ridiculously hard to win. All I'm going to say is, it's cute, and the ridiculous dialogue, voice acting is what sells the game. The rest of it is garbage.
Yeah.
No,
It's true.
That
Yeah.
is a
It's
lie.
true.
That is I
true.
muted the game and I suddenly loved it.
That's
I
Here's
could
the thing,
not
you're
play
wrong.
it with the audio
You're
on.
wrong.
The audio
You're
on
wrong.
was
Fight.
abysmal because it has full voice acting and
it's
probably
great.
two of the
Great.
girls have voices that aren't obnoxious and the rest of them are the
Have you-
worst.
have you-
are
oh, you're wrong.
awful.
You're
Yes,
wrong.
I watch
Totally
anime.
wrong.
Jesse, I watch anime all the
That's why-
goddamn
that's why
time,
your
and I
judgment-
had
that's 'cause
to mute this game. I had to
Wrong.
mute this game.
Wrong. The only reason to play this game is one, to talk to what I assume are all girls that are okay with you stalking them. Two, to bang girls that are okay with you stalking them, banging them because you played a match 3 game. And 3, learn how to date, which apparently is buy people gifts, follow them around,
Drunk.
and get them drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Best
Solve
game
the
ever.
puzzle.
I get it. I got
Yeah,
it.
Well, I mean, that does work in some scenarios. You know.
All I'm saying is this
It's
game
not
is a
unrealistic.
metaphor for women. This game's a metaphor for women. You have to solve crappy puzzles that no one really likes. You have to listen to all their stuff and ask them questions you don't want to ask them. You have to, and then, oh my God, you have to relate and buy them things and care about like what their
Care
cup
about
size
them?
is.
What a terrible
Yeah,
thing
oh.
that would be.
What a horrible this
I
game's
can't
fun,
imagine why
but
you're
the message
still
it sends,
single,
I don't.
Jesse. I can't.
Yeah.
Although some of the questions that they ask are just like, how much do you weigh? And all of them are just like, I weigh this much. It's like, no woman's
Right?
going to do that.
I was like, I should not be asking these questions, but they don't, even if you've just met them, you can be like, how big are your boobies? And they're like, C cup. They do not give a shit. Like none of these girls give a shit. The only thing that I noticed some girls are like totally okay with and some are not is day drinking. Some of the girls you can be like, you want a beer? And they're like, sick, it's morning, let's do this. And then other girls, you try to give them a beer and they're like, I think that's a little inappropriate right now. Like, okay, it's cool for me to ask you how big your boobs are when we literally just met, but I cannannot give you a beer in the middle of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, because it's one of those shitty anime games. That's what all these shits are. You can justify this all you want. I played that crap. So like, but except the other ones are like, my name's Hirohito, and I'm from the Fujimura Academy, and I just want to know your boob size. Like, well, that's inappropriate, but tease, right? It's the same effing thing, except this is Japan. I don't fucking care. It's the same thing. All these games, you just justify it because it's like,
I'm
I have to
realizing-
woo them through 26 hours of gameplay. This is just a quicker version.
I'm realizing Jesse and I got very, very different things out of this game.
I think
Like the
that is very
reasons
true.
that we enjoyed this game are completely different.
Drastically
I would
different.
say, like, a lot of people have been talking about how a lot of girls have been playing this game. I think one of the reasons for that is that, like, I feel like the dialogue specifically is so ridiculous. And there are so many things about this game where you can be like, oh, so it's cool that I have an app that stalks girls. All right, awesome. Oh, so my fairy's going to tell me that if I'm having a hard time, I should just get them drunk. Okay.
Yes.
Like, it's
Yes.
ridiculous to that extreme that I feel like girls specifically can get away with saying, this is such a ridiculous game. I can't stop playing it, you know, whereas guys are like, this is really creepy, but I'm enjoying it. I probably shouldn't say anything.
I never said that.
I feel, not you. You don't give a shit. But plenty of other dudes do.
No, those guys are what I like to call liars. They enjoy it. They're like, man, I wish I could say this in public and not get slapped in the face. Trust me, guys. Don't bullshit. Don't bullshit.
What you're
You
saying is this
wieners.
game is art. Everybody gets
This
something
game's
out of
beautiful. It is a
it.
beautiful
Everybody's getting
artistic
something
creation.
different out of it, and it's really just impacting lives,
Yeah.
changing lives.
It changed my life. I actually appreciate it in an anime game.
Do you feel it's a parody in any way? Like, do you
Yes,
think
of
that
course it
it's a
is.
Definitely.
takeoff of dating
It is.
games?
Definitely, because like the
goes over
fairy
the
girl
top.
that's with you the whole time, she's a super dude bro, by the way. She's like every girl
Yeah.
you meet, she's like, I'd bang that, lol. And then at a certain point, spoilers, you can try to bang the fairy as well. And every time you play with her, like if you fail against her, she'll say things like, wow, your match 3 skills are really shitty today. You know,
She's
she
like
like
completely
it's very
breaking the fourth wall immediately.
it's very
Yeah.
over. Yeah. Or
The whole-
like,
the whole
wow,
game is
you
a
need to
joke.
get better at dating sims, dog. Yeah.
Yeah, the game is a joke, and that's why it's fun to, it's just a silly, fun game. There's nothing real about it.
But have you seen the Kickstarter? Because in the Kickstarter, the description for the Kickstarter is like, I believe that dating sims are one of the most beloved sort of forms of a game. I would love to make a dating sim. I think girls are pretty dope. Let's make a game about girls. And then
Okay.
it doesn't match up with the game that was created at all. But
People seem
no,
to like it anyway, though. It's doing really
like
well.
for Jesse, so Jesse's like, I don't want to put in the work on these puzzles. For me, it's all about like trying to max out abilities and do the puzzles, right?
Okay.
Like
It's
Sam
risk reward.
and
though.
I like, had all of these different methods and
Yeah,
things,
no,
and he's
Sam,
like, "Oh, you got
I
to
bet
do it like
Sam
this." And
loved
I
the
was like,
game.
"Yeah."
I bet Sam
did.
loved it.
He 100% did it. So did
I
Ken.
bet he did. I bet he did.
Just so everybody knows.
Uh-huh.
See,
All I'm saying
I've only
is
banged
it's-
3 of them so far.
I've banged almost all of them, although I haven't unlocked the 2 extra ones.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
the tentacle girl? Oh, there's
There's
tentacles
tentacle
that
girl?
there's
There's
tentacle
a cat girl. I know.
tentacles
Fox girl,
come for
cat
one
girl?
of them. Look, I don't want to ruin it.
Okay.
Then there's a girl
Wait,
who's
is she
basically
the, is she
a Dreadnought.
the porn mag girl?
There's
or
a
the other
Dreadnought
one?
that shows up at some. Look, all I'm gonna say is
Right.
it is a very silly game, and if anyone takes it
very
seriously,
silly.
they're stupid. Like if you're like, though, this is so offensive. It specifically is made to be stupid. Like, don't
Yeah.
get your panties in a bunch. It's okay.
Well,
or
the
box of briefs. No judging. No judging.
You play as a
first
girl as
time-
well in this game.
You can
Yeah.
play
plays
as a
a
girl.
girl or a guy, and they want to make a second one where you can play a girl or a guy, and the town is filled with like guys and girls that you
Yeah,
can
so
bang.
you as a girl you can date guys.
So that
instead
it's
of
just like
dating other
full
girls.
on, just like do whatever you want, touch every butt.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, I mean, they seem to be doing fairly well. I mean, they've been on the front page of Steam multiple times in the top sellers. A lot of, well, I wouldn't say a lot of streamers streamed it because Twitch banned streaming it because it's even the censored version is maybe a little explicit, just a bit.
Yes, it
Yeah.
definitely is.
Yeah.
I might
There's some boobs in it.
even the toned down Steam version is like nipples everywhere.
Yeah,
So-
and it's like, oh, well, what she's doing, she's still wearing underwear. That doesn't improve it at all. I think it's still obvious what's going on here.
Don't worry. On behalf of all of us, I went and downloaded
Yeah.
the patch that
Of course
removes
you
all
did.
that.
Yes,
Thank
for
you.
science, obviously.
Here,
For
for science. Here's the thing. I don't think it's worth it. The patch, what it does is it gives you another, like, every so many images, like the last one, most of the images are exactly what you get. The last one, that, like, I finally banged you image, is literally just, like, the difference is there's an addition of a pearl necklace, wink, if you know what I mean. That's it. There's nothing really different about it. Like, it's like, well, that, I expected more, but all right, sure. Like, it's not too shocking. Like, all right, no. So it's basically every, like, dating sim game I've ever played. So yeah, great. I think the concept's cute. I think the ridiculousness of the characters is fun. I like that they're all stereotypes of, like, tropey dating game characters, and I think that the dialogue is ridiculous, and that the fairy is, like, basically, I don't want to say like a male ego, but essentially,
like
or id, or whatever it would be.
Kind of. She kind of is, though.
Like when you meet the Asian teacher, they're like, "Oh man, I got some crazy yellow fever, dude, bro."
Yeah, the
No,
fairy is
she's like
super dude, bro.
She's like, I wouldn't call you. It's a yellow flu or whatever she says. Like, she goes crazy. She's like, "Ooh, I love me some mochaccino." Like the whole thing
I
is
love me some
ridiculous.
chocolate.
Yeah,
Just like, stop.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this
I will
is
say,
great.
because I was tweeting about how I was trying really hard to bang this one girl in this game, and everybody called me out hardcore and was like, "You said you played 30 minutes of this game and hated it, and now look at you." And it's really true. I played 30 minutes of the game, and I started off expecting to hate it, and so I hated it. I projected a lot of hatred onto it. I was like, "You stalk girls, is super fucking creepy. She wants you to get them drunk, super fucking creepy." Like, I was like, this is a dumb, creepy game. And then when I came back to it and muted it, really fun.
Here's the thing.
Mute helps
It's
a lot.
basically-
Mute the game. Mute the game. It's a whole new experience.
It's basically, if you want to play Jesse Cox the game, this is the game.
Oh, God.
I'm not joking.
I'm
Like, it's a
even
game
less
that-
enthusiastic to play it now.
No. It's a game that's like, it's not at all serious. But it's blatantly, like, trying to push a few buttons by being over the top, like, fake sexually aggressive. I think it's hilarious. I think the concept is fantastic. Like, it doesn't mean anything that it says. It just is silly and stupid and fun.
I gotta admit,
And I
like,
think
from seeing some of the screenshots, especially that the missus posted first, I'm like, this is sexist as fuck. What the hell? Like, there's some really nasty shit said. Particularly that, I don't know, that one girl who is apparently the worst person in the universe.
Oh, the bitchy
Yeah,
one.
Redhead?
Yeah.
She's-
Dude, the redhead's one of the first
She's
ones I got.
horrible.
I love that
She's
girl.
why I muted the game. She's
Yeah,
why
I love
muted
that
the
girl.
game. Her voice
I
is
love that
terrible.
girl to death. She and the girl Jessie, who is basically
Vicious.
Lindsay Lohan, but adult porn star Lindsay Lohan, got her first. Then I got redhead,
Yeah, me too.
Audrey.
I banged her too.
I love Audrey because she's so mean to me, and I just want to, like, you know, rough her up in the sack. Then I got this
We need to
teacher
change
because
topics now.
I
It got
think
weird.
that's a
got the
good
teacher.
idea. In fact, actually, it's
Then
a
I
good
got the
time to go
teacher,
to a
'cause the
break
teacher-
at this point. When we
she's
come
hot,
back,
you know, she's
we'll
hot.
be
You got that
talking a
yellow
little bit about the
flag.
news
Yeah.
that's coming in, and I'm sure it'll be very interesting and not in any way related to this conversation. You're watching the Crossfield
Freestyle
Podcast.
basketball.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the final hour of the co-optional podcast. Doritos suck.
No, they're
but
not just
Tapatio
Doritos.
Doritos are the best.
I hate tortilla chips. I just don't like them. I
They're so
absolutely
good. Those are
do
the best
not
ones.
like them.
Or
So
gum.
Americans are raised on them.
Yeah,
sorry,
I think
buddy.
that's got to be it. There's something about the flavor that I just absolutely hate. There's this earthy flavor to them. I'm just like, ugh.
Earthy flavor.
You mean the corn?
I guess that's I don't think I like some corn snacks, especially like stuff like from England. Monster Munch is the fucking best. But outside of that, like tortilla chips, no.
What's a monster munch?
It's a kind of puffed corn snack that's beef flavored or spicy flavored. It just is called spicy. It's not like spicy anything, it's just spicy. And it's shaped like a giant monster's like paw print. And it's the fucking best. They are so delicious. I import them to this country because they're that damn good.
That boy boing from last episode, I ate all that. That's
Oh,
good.
Boy Boing is good. Yeah.
Boy boing is
Legit.
good. That was delicious.
How can I buy
Apparently it's
Monster
from the Philippines.
If you can, Amazon has some suppliers that import it. It takes a while to get over, but they're fucking gorgeous. They're so good. Admittedly, maybe not as good as the Man Crisps, the real McCoys right there. I think they've actually taken Man Crisps off there. It's possible they may have offended some people, but yeah, those are great too. Thick flame-grilled steak ruffle flavor.
Yeah.
We do crisps pretty damn good in the UK. I'll tell you that for a fact. All right. The final hour begins. Let's.
Exciting.
Yes. So news. We have quite a bit of it. There's all sorts of little things going on. So the first thing is a translated article. So please bear in mind there's the possibility that this might not be right. Or at least not entirely accurate. And the translated article is about Resident Evil Revelations 2, which is the forthcoming new console release in the Resident Evil series, which is, Revelations 1 was pretty good. Like, a lot of people said, hey, this is kind of a return to form. It's not Resident Evil 6, which I think was all they really needed it not to be. But, turns out, according to this article, assuming this is correct, Resident Evil Revelations 2 features microtransactions, which allow you to instantly revive yourself, as well as purchase weapons and tools in the game. Bear in mind, this is a single-player experience. You are able to use life crystals to revive players after dying to avoid going back to the most recent checkpoint, and use real money to buy life crystals, weapons, and skills.
Can you find all of the weapons inside of the game? Do we know?
Hard to know. Apparently, you can get life crystals without paying for them, but if you want more, then...
I just bought the Mega Monster Munch Variety Pack.
Oh, cool. That means, well, do you like pickled onion?
Yeah, I like onions.
Yeah,
and
you'll enjoy those then. I fucking hate
yeah.
them. But yeah, good. You can tell
excited.
me what you think of Monster Munch later. Oh,
I will.
cool. Okay,
man.
so what are your
Yeah,
thoughts
no,
on microtransactions in single-player games?
Like, apparently this is, like, a lot of people are confirming it, that the translation's right. Like, you can, from where you died, you don't have to go back to the checkpoint. You can respawn right where you died. You can buy weapon upgrades and various other upgrades that can also be obtained in the game as well.
Yes.
And, yeah, it looks like it's totally legit. At least that's what people are saying. So, I don't know. I mean, it's single player. So I personally don't, if it's single player, I personally don't care. If you want to spend money on a single player game,
Okay. Great. Can I, like, give you a reason? Dodger, go ahead first.
I was going to say, I would feel that would imply to me that they don't care all that much about the flow of the game, like the way that they designed the game to flow.
Yes. Pacing.
Because they're allowing you to just kind of do whatever you want. The scale is all out of whack then. Like, that would kind of, I would assume that the game could have been much better and cleaner and provided more of an experience.
Without.
And then they just kind of like,
are you saying a
threw that
Capcom
away?
game could have been better at launch?
I am
What?
saying that. I know. Take me to court.
She's spot on the money. That's exactly the same reason that I don't like it. And it goes a bit further than that, because I find it, whenever a single-player game has microtransactions in it that allow you to accelerate the rate at which you go through the content, I also have to make the assumption that it's possible that in order to accommodate that microtransaction system and make it more likely for you to use it, that they slowed the pacing of the game down on purpose, which means that the game became grindier, whereas if it didn't have that system within it, it wouldn't have. I don't know how that applies to Resident Evil, because if we go back to, here's an example that you guys all played, Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3 had microtransactions in it. Now, do any of you feel that actually affected the pacing of the game in any particular way?
No.
Did it have
It did.
I don't even remember.
Well, that's an example of how they didn't put it in your face then. But yes, it did.
Yeah.
You could buy all sorts of things with it. You could buy like a lot of materials. Like you could buy things that would automatically gather a bunch of materials for you for the crafting system. And the concern, and the single player that I played of it before I did my assessment, I didn't feel like I ran into a situation where the materials were being artificially gated to encourage me to buy microtransactions. That said, maybe I didn't play enough of it. So
Jesse and I never ran into it.
Even at Endgame, there was never a need to buy anything.
No.
It just wasn't necessary.
I think the problem, is more the possibility of it affecting the game rather than it like a guarantee. Like it's not guaranteed that if they put microtransactions into a single player game that suddenly everything's going to be a nightmare grind without them. But the thing is, they introduce the possibility that it might, and you always have this doubt in the back of your mind. It's like, well, how exactly would this game have been without those? And that's what concerns me. And also, frankly, fuck paying for cheat codes. Holy shit. Like, I said this in my Assassin's Creed Unity video. It's like, I used to be able to enter a cheat code, now I have to enter my credit card. It's absurd. I understand it in a free-to-play scenario. I get it. I don't mind paying for microtransactions. I just bought fucking $50 worth of stupid fucking lockboxes in Star Trek. Got nothing more than a goddamn useless ship and a bunch of resources and these little duty officer thingies. And, like, okay, it's a free game. Like, I don't really mind doing that from time to time. I don't mind necessarily buying virtual currency in a free-to-play game. I absolutely do fucking mind being even offered it in a single player. And worse is offering it in a multiplayer that you have to pay for. That's, I don't think anyone's grabbed that particular spicy meatball yet. Can you think of... Oh, yeah, The Crew. The Crew grabbed that fucking spicy meatball.
Oh,
$60
shit,
game.
I forgot about The Crew.
Yeah, you can buy almost everything in that game except for parts which drop like candy anyway. So you can buy cars in that game. Legit, just straight up. Some of them are stupidly expensive as well.
I think the safest like microtransaction to do is skins
Well, of
and
course it is,
cosmetic things.
Yeah, always.
So I don't know. I think those are cool, or like things that can help speed up something that otherwise wouldn't take or that would take a long time. But like, I hate anything other than that, really.
Yeah,
So it just
I don't
feels like
mind-
they planned to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like how baked into the game is this, and did it actually affect the design process? I'm okay with boosters, but primarily for multiplayer games. I think it's a good way for people that don't have a lot of time, that obviously like work full time, whatever, to keep up with people that do. Admittedly, simultaneously the problem is that it's not like they're the only ones that can use boosters. But the idea is like, if you've got a lot of time on your hands, chances are you're also not employed, so you probably can't afford boosters. But if you've got a job, you bet you're trading money for time, you know, because your time is valuable. Like, you're thinking like, well, this is an hour that I could have spent doing something else. And I'm okay with boosting in that respect. Totally fine with it.
Yeah.
But you get into murkier territory when you start selling items, because you've got to be super careful that those items are not even in any way more powerful than other stuff that you can otherwise acquire. And a lot of it really is not down to the... I don't think there's many games anymore that do the pure kind of Korean-style pay-to-win that was kind of in the 90s, where you could literally just buy the best items in the game and no one else could get them if they didn't pay. That's kind of a thing of the past. I don't see that happening anymore. But it's about how fast can you earn the currency to acquire these items versus just paying money for it. That's the question. Jesse, are you doing cocaine? What the fuck are you doing over there?
No, I was blowing my nose and I did it off camera because I don't want to do it on camera like a weirdo. I muted it and I blew my nose because I was stuffed up, and I just happened to be down like this, where I realized while doing it, it kind of looked like when I came up and did this, it looked like I was just on coke. And when chat
What
picked
can I
up
say?
on that, it was
YouTube
really
money, it corrupts.
when chat picked up on that, it was very funny. And no, I'm blowing my nose.
Say
I have a
hello
whole
to
thing
my
of
little
tissues.
friend.
But that's where I keep the coke.
But I
In the tissue box?
No one will ever look
no
there.
one will ever look there. Yeah, it's convenient as well. It's like right near where you need to go there for your nose. Like, oh, there's coke here too. Cool, we can do both.
Each
My
tissue
knowledge-
laced with
I like
All my
how
those
ours-
things together.
Don't do
Our
drugs,
combined
kids.
knowledge of cocaine very
my.
high. We're like, that's how you do that stuff.
Don't
Yeah,
do
totally,
drugs.
right? And then you take a razor blade and you make a
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Then we
Totally.
just need some
One crap
hookers.
round.
None of you
Please.
have done
Off their
cocaine. It's
butts.
blindingly obvious.
I've done so many drugs.
You are
Every
just a
drug.
drug
Did you
user.
do 3
I'm
of the
just a
drugs
mess.
or 4
I've
of the
done
drugs?
one time I did 4 of the drugs. but
Wow,
that was
really?
just
All 4
too
of the
many
drugs?
Of the drugs.
NyQuil,
Wow.
Lemsip.
Robitussin.
Robitussin,
Advil,
Sudafed.
Benadryl. Yeah.
and acetaminophen.
Jesus. I don't even know what that is. But
That is still my favorite Cox and Crendor. You guys trying to pronounce acetaminophen. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Look at that. Look at that word and tell me that doesn't look like acetaminophen. That's not even
Yeah.
a word.
No, the best was I was saying like acetaminophen. You're like, give me it, you idiot. And then you try saying it. You're like, what the shit? And I was like, yeah.
Look at that
take
word.
that.
That's not a real word. That's bull.
oh dear. All right, back onto the microtransactions. So, like, I think we can kind of all agree that putting microtransactions in single-player games is pretty much fucking bullshit, right?
I would agree that it's bullshit, but I don't think it doesn't affect my playing of the game. Like, I don't think I'm not
We just
concerned
don't
about
know
it.
yet.
I mean, like, it's not a thing that I'm concerned about. If it makes the game suck, then it makes the game suck. But it's not something I'm like worried about an epidemic of microtransactions in single player games. If it becomes one, then we have a problem. But at this point, it's not something I'm like, oh man, it's Capcom. Capcom's always been Capcom. Let me describe to you Capcom in a nutshell.
This should be good.
Capcom had a party 2 weeks ago. It was in Hollywood. It was for the launch of the remastered edition of this of Resident Evil 1,
which
and
is
the
actually
launch of
good,
this.
by the way.
Yes,
if you can deal with the original kind of weird controls, the remastered Resident Evil is a good game. Like, and it's actually relevant because there's nothing else like it on the market, and you should probably remember why it was good in the first place by trying it. Good PC version's good too, but
agreed.
Anyway,
it's a fantastic game. With that said, Capcom's Capcom.
Yes.
At the Capcom party, swag bag $50. They had their own store in the party at the bar to buy Capcom stuff. All drinks $10, no matter what the drink was.
Jesus Christ!
It was a Capcom party. Like, you felt like this. Yeah,
microtransactions everywhere.
No one else could have run this party but Capcom.
If it was an Ubisoft party, you'd got there and it was just half built.
It was all towers you had to climb up to get to the party to unlock.
They were still like putting up all the decorations and everything, but they'd let people in and they were already charging them. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, Capcom is weird like that. They produce great stuff, but then they do dumb things. It drives me crazy. So.
Oh, they do. Capcom has done some really anti-consumer shit. Like, I remember when they put DLC on Street Fighter X Tekken on the disc and then charged you for it later. It's like, fuck you. Like, that is an absolutely horrible thing to do. And it's a shame because, like, I like a lot of the things that Capcom releases, but as a company, they keep doing the worst shit, and they need to stop it. They really do. That and they closed Clover Studios, and I guess I'll never forgive them for that, but simultaneously allowed the creation of Platinum, so I guess that's fine. We would not have had Bayonetta if Capcom hadn't been idiots. So bear that in mind.
True.
You can thank Capcom for being morons. So there you go.
Yay.
All right. I guess we'll move on to another story then. So there's been a thing going around in the past couple of days that Ubisoft has revoked some Far Cry 4 keys. So basically people that bought Far Cry 4 keys, specifically, it appears from the grey market retailers, G2A and Kinguin, have had their keys, some of them have had their keys revoked. And I don't believe Ubisoft has actually made any sort of statement on it yet. But Kinguin and G2A have. So we're in this weird position where Ubisoft didn't communicate really with anybody, and then everyone's like, what the hell is happening? Why are these keys suddenly being cancelled? There is I believe, yes, they did. So they released a very short statement to Game Informer that said, we regularly deactivate keys that were fraudulently obtained and resold. In this case, we're currently investigating the origin of the fraud and will update customers when we have more information to share. In the meantime, customers should contact the vendor from whom they purchased the key.
Have any of you ever been contacted by like one of these third-party vendor kind of like gray vendor sites?
Constantly.
Constantly.
G2A and Kinguin have both multiple times tried to enter a sponsorship deal with me. They contact every streamer and every YouTuber that exists. As far as I'm
like,
aware.
hey, do you want to sell games to your audience? Well,
Yep.
we can do it for you.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing: is every time they contact me, it sounds nice, but I'm always like, I always ask them this, and I ask them every time, why couldn't they get it from Steam? You're offering them the same thing that Steam does. Is it cheaper? Is it this? And well, we give them codes and this stuff, and it always seemed a little shady to me, and so I never bought into any of it. And
that's what I thought too.
When I hear stuff like this and they're like, well, it could be fraudulent keys, I almost want to believe Ubisoft. And I hate saying that because Ubi scummy. But I can't help but feel this way when I get contacted by these guys. They could be totally on the up and up, but just the way that it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
So here's a few more kind of facts about places like G2A, Kinguin, and CGS and things like that. And I think it's G2 Play. So they're what's called grey market unauthorized Steam key resellers, which means that they acquire their keys not directly from from the publisher. They can acquire them in different ways. So a lot of the keys that you're being sold that seem like, hey, they have this brand new AAA game for $30 cheaper than a regular one. How do they do that? Well, it's usually because they end up lifting it from cheaper markets where the games have to be sold cheaper because the piracy rate is rampant and the income rate is a lot lower. So most of the kind of Russian territories really apply to this, like tier 2 territories like that. So their income rate on average is a lot lower, which means you can't sell them a $60 game and they'll just pirate it. So it's like they're not going to stop playing games just because they can't afford it. So the sensible thing to do is reduce the cost and make a version for them that they can buy that is within their means. The problem is that what happens is they get sold to wholesalers, which then get bought up en masse and then sold to people in first world countries, essentially. I realize I've just pissed off a lot of Russians by claiming that Russia is not a first world country. You know exactly what I mean. We're talking about rich Western nations, like rich European nations, rich American nations with a higher average income, and they're buying they're buying these keys that are intended for those with a lower income in other regions, and as a result, they're getting a big saving, but the publisher isn't making as much money kind of as they should, and sometimes like none at all. That's the kind of key that's like the least egregious. This is where shit gets really dodgy, because some of those keys are stolen. And they're either literally lifted from the back of a lorry, because a lot of these keys you get from these places are actually scanned in, like they're physical codes. They sell codes from, say, giveaways. Like they used to sell fucking Humble Bundles. They used to resell Humble Bundles, which was scummy. Yeah.
It's super messed up.
Yeah, G2A has a marketplace, so it's kind of like an eBay, and they don't check where the keys come from. So, like, also, people were buying up like 100 Humble Bundles and then later on selling them on for a profit, and they were buying them for like $1 each, so they're being absolute scumbags about it, because obviously that's, it's a charity thing. And the worst possible scenario is when the keys are bought en masse through a credit card, either stolen or just a credit card, and then the guy charges back. And the bank always sides with the customer when you do a chargeback. Always. So the worst instance I can think of is a while ago, Natural Selection. They got ripped off for $30,000 of keys through fraudulent credit card transactions, which were then sold on places like G2A. And they revoked some of those keys. And Rebellion, in I think July of last year, they revoked a bunch of Sniper Elite keys. But that was a bit of a weird...
That.
Yeah. So this is where things get a bit weird, because right now you're probably thinking, well, fuck these places. These are all stolen keys. You don't have the right to keep stolen goods. Fuck that. But here's where it gets weird, because Rebellion initially claimed that the keys were fraudulent, and then they changed it. They said that they changed the message to not say it was fraudulent anymore, and then they refused to answer any more questions about it. So what Jesse was saying earlier is kind of valid. How do we know the keys were stolen? How do we know that Ubisoft is revoking actual fraudulent keys and not effectively price fixing, like doing punitive things against sites that are selling their games cheaper than they should be? That's where the problem is. And of course, who gets burned in the end of it? The guy who bought it. The consumer gets burned. So that's where the debate opens up, which is why I'd like to open the floor to you guys. Like, what do you think of a gray market in general? Who do you side with on this?
I've never bought anything like from them just because of that. Like I always saw it as like a shady. Like whenever I see anything where it's like this is super cheap, I'm like, I don't know about that. Yeah, why is it?
Well, it's
so
too good
cheap?
to be true, right? It's like, how can this guy afford to sell $20 cheaper than Steam?
Yeah,
really?
It's the same thing that if you're downtown and some guy comes up to you with a bunch of watches and he's like, "Man, I have this Rolex and it's $25. I'll give it to you now." It's like. Question.
Yeah.
Where did you get that? It's
like,
one of those
that blood stain on the strap? It's like, oh, that's just a limited edition.
Yeah, it has a very weird vibe. And when people approach me, especially through email, and they're like, "Yeah, no, it's totally legit, and we sell games at half price, and it's this and this and this," and it's like, I don't like it. Doesn't seem real, and I think that goes with what a lot of people deal with. I think every day. If you go to the grocery store, you're more likely to buy, and this might not be everybody, but most people are more likely to buy the big name brand thing because you know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
And these feel like the sort of like knockoff. It's the same, but it's cheaper. It's like, no, is it the same? Am I getting it? Like you just don't know. It's very risky, and I think those people who took the risk knew there was a risk associated with it. So if they lost their key, it's part of the risk you took. I feel for you, I do, but you should know what you're getting into. Like, if you buy that Rolex downtown, if a police officer shows up at your house the next day and is like, that Rolex was involved in a murder, you just took that risk. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, because
I feel like that's an extreme example.
it's a little bit of an extreme.
Clearly.
Was involved in
Clearly.
murder. He
The Rolex murdered a man.
Just the Rolex just like pops up. He's like, damn it, I
It
almost
runs
got away
away.
with
It
it.
never
No.
gets me, copper.
Some people have
I
tried
mean,
to
at
equate this
least-
to used games, which doesn't make any sense because the used game will have at least once been bought at full price. So that's kind of the argument you can make there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was waiting, and now I'm
I know.
disappointed.
I was going to say that at least with a website, you can make it look really legitimate, right? If you have the
very
right
easily.
guy making
yeah.
your website, you can make it look super legit.
Yeah, I
and
mean, if
people will
you
be
say,
like,
went to
this,
squarespace.com/cooptional, that would be a great place. You can do an e-commerce thing through there with no experience required. Like 10% off your first purchase, squarespace.com/cooptional. Go on.
you can scam people and
Just to
Don't
show-
do that.
just-
sell
Don't do that
game
thing.
codes.
Don't do that thing.
That.
Yeah. 'Cause I feel like the example that Jesse gave. All I'm trying to say, I feel like the example that Jesse gave of like that dude on the street who's wearing a trench coat who tries to sell you a Rolex. That would be like going to a really shitty GeoCities website and being like, "This looks legit. I'll buy something here."
Yeah.
But people
Never know.
dress up in
There
suits
might
all
be
the
some
time and
very
screw out of
friendly
things, aka
GeoCities
timeshares,
customers
right?
and sellers.
Mhm.
You know, GeoCities. Some people really just wanted a website, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna sell my ancient Chinese chopsticks here, and they
You still
did it.
make GeoCities websites.
I don't think GeoCities exists anymore, does it?
Oh yeah, I think it got
GeoCities.
shut down.
Just ask Jeeves.
GeoCities.ws.
Oh, man. I wouldn't go to that. That's probably porn now.
It wasn't
away.
fun.
Yo,
But I
titties.
appreciate you looking out for me.
Cool. Yeah, we got you back on that one. So there's a number of problems with it. Like, firstly, there's no place that has a definitive list of official Steam resellers. There is the best place that I've found is actually the Game Deals subreddit. They have listed a bunch of what are official resellers. They don't allow the reselling of grey market keys on there. Like, they don't allow any of that advertising. And they have a list of people that they say these are unauthorized Steam resellers, is like the kindest way to describe them. I describe them as grey market resellers, but the problem is that, like, how would a consumer know? Like, other than the whole "this is too good to be true" thing, which is not necessarily legitimate sometimes. Like, what if they go and they buy a game that's a bit older? Because it's not like Steam doesn't have big discounts too. It's just you're not going to see $20 off a brand new game on Steam. That's never going to happen. Like, and if you see a $60 game being sold at $40 2 days after release, then you've got to scratch your head and say, well, how did you manage to accomplish that? Because
Same thing at GameStop. If you go to a GameStop and you see the brand new release that is like it's returned, I immediately am like, that guy stole that game and returned it.
well, even if he
Yep.
did that, it's going to be $5 cheaper. Because I mean, even like GameSpot doesn't discount new stuff used that much. They take $5 off it and say,
Right.
okay, you can save $5. That's it.
Yeah.
They don't say you can save 20.
And the used ones, a lot of the time, are like when people buy it and it like breaks or gets scratched. Like, well, it might work when they try to test it out, and then they'll put it on the shelf, and then the person buys it, and then it doesn't work. They're like, there's a big ass scratch on it or something. It's like, you don't know, it can be broken, and they just like tried to get their money back, kind of.
Yeah. So it's very hard, I think, for consumers to determine unless they stick to like the official places. And here's the thing, like, isn't it on the consumer to try and save as much money as possible? Obviously, without literally going out and stealing a video game. Like, that's the consumer's prerogative, right? They should be doing that. That's being a savvy consumer, right?
But that's
Yeah.
not what people do. And it's been proven time and time again that people don't do that. It's in our best interest to do that, but we are constantly going with what makes us feel good rather than what's in our best interest. Sure, we should be saving money, but study after study proves that we would rather spend a little bit more to feel good about the purchase
Peace of mind.
than to have saved money on a gamble. And people always do that. And I think that's why Steam is so popular, is because Steam, we know what we're getting. And we can jump in
Most
and
of the
there's no
time.
questions about it. Yeah. And people love that kind of thing, and it's there for them. It's sort of like that, like, you'll never cheat on me, will you? Steam seems like, no, baby, right? Steam's there for you. And these other
Except
sites,
when you ever need a refund, in which case they fucking well will.
I'll get on it, girl. Don't worry.
Eventually, the little
that's
3
like-
customer service staff they have there.
You give him some
Soon.
divorce papers, and he's like, "I'm not signing this."
Yeah,
I'll make you love me
that is
again.
Steam. That's what they're trying to do with the EU right now, because the EU is like, look, you've got to refund people, and they're like, nope, not listening, nope.
Yeah, and I think the Steam sales are people, those are sales like 75% off. They can trust that, like it's a legit thing. And when you see that elsewhere, you have that moment of hesitation where it's like that
is it?
seems too good to be true.
It's like
But on
you
Steam,
go
it's totally
to
fine.
you go to I don't know, Target, and they got a big sale. You're like, all right. Then you go to like Joe's Pawn Shop on like 58th Street, and you're like, you got a sale? And he's like, yeah, we're trying to get rid of this shit.
Yeah,
like,
it's. I mean, video games are just like anything in real life. It's people go with what they know and are comfortable with, and those people who don't take chances. And if you took it, I feel for you if you got screwed, but at the same time, that's the gamble that you took, and
Yeah.
deal with it.
Deal with it.
Yeah, here's the problem, though, right? Here's the problem. These sites are being advertised a lot by streamers, like because you're talking about the gamble here, right? But if a bunch of popular streamers who are partnered with these people are saying they're totally legit, they're totally above board, everything's fine, the consumer's kind of being, I wouldn't say misled there, but they're being reassured by a person they trust, and they may get burned.
Yeah. That's why I don't promote like any of those, because I'm always just like, I wouldn't buy from there, so I don't want people I like that watch me to buy from there. But that's just me. I don't care if other people do it, because they might be like, oh, I've used it and I've gotten a lot of great deals, and I haven't had bad experiences, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a touchy
Yes.
thing. You're absolutely right. Like people, I've seen a lot of streamers do it. Like their entire stream page on Twitch is like devoted to selling things, and yeah, it's because they get a commission. They want the money from it. I think a lot of people are young and don't understand the implications of what they're doing, and so they do things because it gets them money, and they don't understand the outcomes and the aftermath of said choices. And I would just say that's the community we're in. A bunch of a large group of young people who are making a lot of money very quickly and don't understand like what
Marketing
comes
and
with
business
that.
concepts
Yeah,
and
yeah.
branding.
And so and it affects their brand as well, which is why if you're doing YouTube or Twitch or whatever, you need to think about more than just making a quick buck, because it affects who you are. It affects your brand of what you're doing. And I think you need to be thoughtful about what you do. And I would suggest to a lot of people who support stuff like this, like, be careful. Take your
It's
time.
even like
Don't-
brand deal things. Like we get a lot of brand deals, and like I've turned down lots of brand deals because I'm like, I don't like this game, or I don't want to play this game, and or, like people wouldn't want to watch me play this game because I'd rather be respected than be like, I'm selling out, everybody. Although you can go to twitch.tv/Crendor and buy a GG button.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Yep.
The thing is, like, they've allied with some pretty damn big brands. Isn't PewDiePie with G2A now? Like, I mean, that's...
Prias, I think.
I think, yeah, there's
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
about
streamers
Beauty.
who are with it. And, I mean, honestly, it's not like they're ripping off people on a daily basis. And they do have, I think, what they call the G2A Shield, which essentially, like, is an insurance policy. If something goes wrong, they will replace the key for you. But the problem that I've got with it, really, is that I think in the long term, there's going to be crackdowns on this stuff. And I think that the first casualty, and it's kind of already happening for perhaps other reasons, is that these other regions that are getting cheaper games for piracy, they're going to end up either being region locked or having these copies just not exist altogether. And I think the region locking is going to be a bit of a problem for people that move around a lot, for people that, say, travel, because you're going to have to basically VPN into your country of origin in order to play stuff, which is fiddly and silly. And you're not going to be able to gift people games because they're in the wrong region. That becomes kind of a big problem. And for the longest time, most of the stuff on Steam, not all of it, but most of it has been region free. And I'm just a little bit worried about the consequences of this in the long term if this keeps happening. And I don't know. It's certainly not the worst thing to ever happen. I'm not saying that GTA is destroying the industry or anything, but they do provide kind of an eBay-like service that is like prime target for stolen keys and things like that. And that is kind of not okay. But simultaneously, if Ubisoft can't provide proof that those keys were stolen, then I think it's reasonable to at least be a bit critical of them and say, look, are you really, like, are these really fraudulent keys? Or is there something else going on here? Because here's the problem, right? Ubisoft have their own digital distribution platform. So this could be seen as an aggressive move against a competitor.
Yep.
And I think that could get them into trouble.
For sure.
You're absolutely right. That's a totally different angle. And that's the idea that Ubisoft is just like, screw you, use our thing instead. And it could be that as well. That maybe nothing illegal took place. We don't know. We don't know the ins and outs of it. This is all just guesswork and theory at this point.
like
But the idea is that it's possible Ubisoft is just dicks. Spoiler, Ubisoft are dicks. So who knows?
Either way,
Well,
with,
they
like,
are,
all
yes.
these companies and stuff, they're all like, sign our contracts and join our program. I'm like, I ain't signing shit. 'Cause after I went through Machinima's fun carnival ride of contract amazement, I read things.
But I mean, that's the point I was making earlier, is that the majority of the people who are in our business are very young. When you hang out with people and they're like, man, I just had my 21st birthday, and you've been doing it for 4 years, it's like, yeah, all right. It's gonna take them getting screwed big time to experience it. You can only say like, be careful so many times.
But it's not them that's going to get screwed, is it? Like, they're not going to lose
consumer.
out. It's the consumer, yeah. There will be some backlash, but like, I don't think if they say there was a big scandal involving G2A, even then, I don't think you're going to see a huge backlash against the streamer, because the streamer's not going to get blamed for it in the first place. I don't think you should necessarily blame the streamer, because as I said, it's not like these sites are like the end of video games. Like, it's like, oh, all they do is distribute pirated copies and stolen. That's not in any way true. But there have been documented instances of stolen fraudulent keys being sold on G2A and Kinguin and other similar sites, because they're vulnerable to that, and they don't seem to discriminate too much. Maybe it's just like they need to be, I don't even know how they could be. I mean, how can they even be vigilant against stolen keys? How the hell would they know?
You can't until it's too late. Like, yeah, you're right, because they're an aggregate. They get the keys from all over.
Yeah, they do.
So you wouldn't know.
And ultimately, there is a market for it. You know, there's some people just will not buy $60 games. So, I mean, the other argument that you've then got to make is, well, is that really a lost sale then? It's kind of the same to the piracy argument. If this guy never buys $60 games, he's not going to just suddenly start buying $60 games just because you shut down G2A and Kinguin. Like, he might not even buy them at all. He might just steal them. Well, no, that's not the right word. You know that. He might just pirate them. In which case, the guy's getting nothing. You know, the publisher's getting nothing. At least the publisher's getting something when they buy a grey market key from another region.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, one other person there just reminded me, and they're like, people, like a bunch of people pretending to be YouTubers or actual YouTubers have taken review codes and sold them on there. It's like, fuck you for doing that.
Yeah,
You make our
it's
jobs
messed up,
harder,
yeah.
you scum. You absolute scum. Go to hell. Well, maybe that's a little extreme. It's like, think very hard about what you did. Go sit on the naughty step. Excellent.
It's up.
Go.
Yeah, cool, thanks. Anyway, yeah, so that's the G2A and kind of Ubisoft story at the moment. But I mean, I do feel for the people that bought it from there, because it is not necessarily easy to know exactly what's legit and what isn't, and the consumer gets burned. I mean, I think if they did the whole G2A shield thing properly, they should get refunded or at least replaced. So I guess it's not too bad, but I'm in a position where I find it hard, like, to know who to sympathize with, because if the stuff is stolen, then I'm 100% on Ubisoft's side. Like, under no circumstances should that be allowed to stand. And we know that it happened to Natural Selection, and it almost killed their studio. Like, them losing 30,000... That's an indie studio, man. They don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I think that, like, you've got to be very sympathetic with people like that. But with Ubisoft, I'm like, were they, though? Like, were they fraudulently bought? And you have a vested interest in killing your competition because you have a store. Natural Selection doesn't. You know, they're just a game developer. They got fucked. But Ubisoft? It's a strange tale. Man, if only we had games journalists that could properly actually investigate this rather than just, repeating what Ubisoft said. That would be a nice thing to know. I want to know. There's a challenge for you. Go find
and not
out.
get copyright flagged if you had a bad opinion about them.
Yes, that would be cool too.
Well,
Indeed. Okay.
Crendor, Dodge and I were twisting the knife. What were you doing exactly?
yeah, what is that?
What is
Is that
like
two
the,
daggers? Like on either,
It's like the double
in
dagger.
either kidney?
Small maracas.
Yeah.
Baraka.
That was like a Pax story. We were at that Mexican restaurant. These like Mexican the mariachi bands or whatever kept coming around, and they were like, "You play music." And Jesse's like, "No, we don't want any music." They came around like 10 times, just being like,
And
"Music."
they would walk away sadly playing music.
Yeah.
Look,
It's
I
so
was
bad, but it
busy
was also
seducing the
hilarious.
waitress so we could get better service, guys.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, also, I was with Jesse often enough that we walked by, I think, 4 different people who said, "A rose for the lady," and every time Jesse said, "Not for her," and they looked so offended. Every single time the lady was like,
Yep. All right, let's move on. So Randy Pitchford is teasing a Borderlands 3 announcement, and I would like to know from everyone what exactly you want from Borderlands 3, because I have a laundry list of things that I need to happen in order for me to give a fuck about Borderlands again, and I would like to know your guys' opinion on that.
I never really liked Borderlands in the first place.
Why?
I never really had anyone to play it with. So I'd play it like single player and I'd be like, it's okay, but like I want
Did
to.
I actually call him Randy Pitchfork? Please tell me I didn't say that. Oh, God.
Randy Pitchfork.
"You did. We were all cool
Oh,
with it."
no. Okay. So, all right.
But I don't know. It just, even if I had other people to play with, it just kind of, it's another one of those games where I was just like, it's okay. Like, it's not bad, but I don't want to put time into it
All right.
for whatever reason.
Okay.
I just follow my instincts.
I like the Borderlands games a lot. I want less loot. I don't want there to be just like shit literally everywhere, because if you're the sort of person who wants to grab all of that, then the game moves really slowly. Like way less of that. I would also love to be in the same world, but in a different time period in that world.
Okay.
Like, just leave everything that's been going on with, like, Pandora and all that shit. Leave all of that behind and start fresh somewhere else in the world. Maybe in a different time or maybe just in a different place.
Yeah. I think the point that you made about loot is probably the same thing that they ended up doing with Diablo 3, where there's just, like, less loot, better quality, interesting loot. Because I think, in pre-sequel in particular, 95% of what dropped was junk. And 4% of it was marginal upgrades or side grades, and then maybe 1% of the time you got something that was actually worth upgrading to.
It was the same with Borderlands 2. Like,
Yeah.
sure, they had lots of ammo around, which is, you appreciate it when you suddenly wind up in a sea of enemies and you're like, oh, thank God, there's ammo everywhere. But yeah, pretty much every time we opened, like, a toilet and found a gun in there, I was like, I don't want this. Like, we picked up, like, no weapons most of the time. We would look at all of them and be like, it's all trash.
It really
and walk
does slow
away.
the game down in many ways, because not only are you dealing with the fact that you have very limited carrying capacity, but you're also dealing with sifting through shit on the ground. Like, there's no filter in that game to just ignore white drops, for instance, like common loot. Because, past level 5 or 6, you're never going to pick up a fucking common item ever again. Like, there's no reason for you to do it. So it ends up being a waste of time. But in Diablo 3, again, on launch, had the same problem. It was dropping shit all the time. So the looting experience wasn't fun anymore. And they changed that with Reaper of Souls, and it became a much better game as a result. Like, we're going to drop less, but the stuff we're going to drop is going to be good. And we're going to make sure it's, like, kind of good for your playstyle, good for your character. That's one problem with it. Jesse, you seem in a contemplative kind of state. What exactly do you think?
I can't figure out what they've done with their franchise, but the more I play, the less interested I am. Like, I think the concepts, I think the acting, I think some of the writing is hilarious. I think some of the writing is a little, like, too tongue-in-cheeky, but I think some of it's spot on. I think everything superfluous, like the icing on the cake, is phenomenal. The cake itself is stale as shit. And I feel like
they've done the
made
same
with
thing for 3
Splenda.
games.
Yeah, and if they do that again, I'm out. And I don't have a need to play this game. And it's because there's so much the superfluous crap on the outside. That's what keeps bringing people back. The fact that, like, oh, I want to see what this crazy character does.
Yeah, because they always do a good job of doing trailers. It's like, yeah, we're so cool. Here's a great piece of music. Here's like what our new character does, and she's awesome. And there's all sorts of things all over the place. She's she's radical. She's really cool, and it doesn't take shit from anybody, and all that.
That's
The
chat's
$60
right.
cake.
Borderlands is literally
it's
the
a $60 cake.
It's the $60 cake.
Looks
overpriced.
impressive, disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, you feel it when you play the pre-sequel, when you played Borderlands 2, when you played all the different things they've done with it. It still is a boring experience to play by yourself. And the only reason why it's fun to play with your friends is because your friends are making it fun. They didn't do shit to make it fun.
There's
It's-
so
it's-
little synergy. I maybe could argue that pre-sequel did a little bit better of making the character skills kind of work better. I think it's because of Athena with her tanking abilities. I think that really helped out a lot. But outside of that, like, you can't really do things for the other guys. They're just another guy with a gun which has an ability that may help you at some point. I really think the game needs more than one active ability. I think they need to completely redesign the skill trees. They're boring.
Yeah.
They are boring. Like, there's so many...
They're like old WoW talent trees.
Exactly. We're right back to that. It's percentages, isn't it? It's like 5% to this, 5% to that. And you level so damn slowly, it's like, oh, great, I got 1% more of this. Every now and again, you'll unlock a passive, which is actually interesting, but the vast majority of it is just bollocks.
And you'll see the one thing they did that was fun with that is if you played as Claptrap, his tree was not that at all. It was like, this thing makes you shoot off fireworks out your butt, and this thing makes you turn into a pirate ship. And it was like crazy shit that was like, that's entertaining.
Yes.
That character was the only reason why I played the prequel at all, really.
Yeah.
And even then, he couldn't keep my interest because the gameplay was like,
The same.
I guess
the same. Yeah,
Same
I mean,
shit.
it's the same gunplay. The enemies take too long to kill, which means that your weapons don't feel powerful. And it
Yeah, I
gets
hate
even
that.
worse when you go into multiplayer, because individual enemies become even more bullet spongy the more players you've got. And I don't play a shooter to shoot the same guy 200 times in the head and not have him die.
Exactly.
That's one of the things I really hated. I think that's why I disliked it so much, is because I felt it was slow because of that reason. I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
it took me 800 bullets to kill that guy, and now we're on to the next one. It's like,
Yep.
I just want to kill him and move on.
Yeah, it just never.
Come on.
It just never ends. I think in Borderlands, the pre-sequel in particular, one of the biggest bugbears I had is they forced you to wait for stupid dialogue constantly. And the writing in pre-sequel was probably the worst of the 3 games. It was really, really stilted. And they forced you to listen to it before they'd even let you out of rooms most of the time. I'm like, fuck, there's no reason for me to be waiting here. I didn't come along to wait to see this one-dimensional character talk. I mean, for God's sake, there's a character in that game whose literal only character trait is I am a lesbian, basically. That's her only discernible, identifiable trait. That's it. No development whatsoever. One-dimensional. Which is really sad.
Yeah.
Less characters, more development on each one. Is probably another good thing. Redesign the
way-
gunplay completely.
You should have bought Portillo's cake. I don't think they got Portillo's cake, but that's the one I thought it was going to be, and it wasn't. It was some shitty, like, random cake you got. I thought it was Portillo's cake, and that's good cake.
Jesus Christ.
Thanks. That's really relevant to what we were talking about. Much appreciated.
We brought up the cake. I had to mention it.
Oh, God.
No, there's so I mean, I think the point now where they're like every trailer like and billions of guns, scrap it.
Yeah, get rid of that. Because they're all shit. Like, there's very few guns that are actually interesting in any way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Pre-order
an
now and
it's-
get our new amazing fly swatter gun.
Yeah.
Like,
I want
that'd be
more
great.
games with more procs earlier. You know, because the whole elemental thing, it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, but let's have more procs earlier on. I want a gun that will... and these exist in the game. I'm pretty sure I remember them from, like, Borderlands 1 and 2. Like, look, this gun shoots has a chance of shooting more than one bullet at a time. This gun has a chance of shooting bullets which split off into other bullets. This has a chance of ricocheting off certain targets. Get really, really, really creative with procs. That's probably the best way to do it. Reduce the number of guns that drop and try and make each gun actually be a real choice in some way. Not, this is a shitty side grade. You know, it's like, I have, after multiple... Here's the biggest problem I've got with it. I'll go into an encounter, and by the end of it, there's 3 of the same gun on the ground. I'm like, you what? You've got a bazillion guns, and you managed to drop 3 of the same fucking thing. Well done, guys. Well done. Really? You can do better than that. If this is going to be a first-person looter, then make your loot not suck. Like, and I don't want to have to go to New Game Plus in order to get a gun that's even in any way interesting. That's not okay. I think that like the design approach is less is more. Less is more. Reduce the number of skills, make each skill better and matter more. Reduce the number of guns.
Oh yeah, well I mean, games in general right now, everybody's kind of pulling toward that. Just, you know, make everything a bit more minimal, a bit more simple, and that way you have to really focus on those mechanics being good.
Quality.
Rather than being
first,
like, here's a bunch of shit that is okay.
Like the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like Call of Duty 4, it was like you got a UAV, an airstrike, and a helicopter, and that's it. Now it's like, here's 50 perks you can have. I was happy with the 3. You gave me the first, and it was like more focused
because they
on
all
gun
did the
combat.
job. Like I think even in like a lot of the other modern, the more modern COD games, there's a lot of like kill streaks that kind of have the same effect. Like they fulfill the same role, and to some degree I can kind of appreciate that. But with games like Borderlands, it goes to ludicrous degrees, and it becomes redundant because you end up getting the same thing over and over and over again. So I just want to see them go right back to the drawing board. Like the writing, I've never really liked the Borderlands writing. I can get over that, but let me skip it. Let me tell someone to shut up. It's Borderlands. Why can't I just do that to a character and have them stop talking?
True.
I definitely feel like their philosophy was, let's go bigger and crazier and wilder. And I feel like you don't have to go, like, the bigger part, you sacrificed a lot of your actual game by trying to make it bigger than it was. And I there's just not, like, there's nothing there. It's
a whole lot of nothing.
Cake is nothing. It's like, yeah, it drives me crazy. And the only time I've ever enjoyed Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, any of the DLC, anything, is when I'm playing with friends. Actually, the only time I've actually enjoyed it by myself was the Tiny Tina storyline, which was the D&D one, because that was great. Like, everything about that was funny.
Because it's
focused.
All
sort of, yeah.
You know? It's the same reason why people like... some people like Blood Dragon more than Far Cry 3. It's a smaller area with more stuff going on in a more concentrated space. So Jim Sterling put out a video that was in praise of the mansion from Resident Evil. Like, and his argument was, we've gone so far down the route of open world that nothing in that open world is notable. It's just space. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, you can't even remember anything. But if you focus down to a smaller area, you can make each location memorable and interesting. You can make each quest memorable and interesting, which is why some of the Borderlands DLC is better. Like Secret Armory of General Knox is fucking phenomenal. It's much better than the base game. And as you said, the Tiny Tina's Keep thing, great.
Hilarious. Amazing.
Yeah. Shame only about half of the DLC does that. Like, they keep releasing crappy DLC, and then occasionally they'll put out a good one.
That's one of the things I noticed from their press conference was, like, they're like, look at how much stuff we released in the last, since Borderlands 2 came out. And it's all these things, but 90% of those things are just superfluous garbage. And I'm like, you can't stop bragging about this. Quantity does not equal quality. Stop it. And I know that's what they're about. It's like millions of things. Millions of awful things doesn't make it right or good.
We have 50 bare-ass quests out in the hinterland.
Same problem with Dragon Age, right? Isn't it? Too big. Like, yes, you can make a giant area, but should you have? Like, that's the question. Like, would it have been better if the area was this big with quality, or this big with bullshit, oh, quality, bullshit, quality? No.
Yep.
I still maintain.
Not better.
I love that shit in Dragon Age.
Well, some people do.
So,
and that's cool.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah, a lot of people really do just like doing that. But it's like the same reason I'm concerned about The Witcher 3, actually, because it's huge, apparently. And, like, I don't think I want
I agree.
I didn't want
agree.
that. Like, I'm okay with Witcher 2 size. Witcher 2 was nice. It had the sort of openish areas, but it was still like linear enough, so all the quests kind of weren't stupid, you know. And
I'm hoping
filler in that game.
they do what is needed in that. You're right. Every place needs to have its own vibe and feeling, so you remember it, and you're not just putting on an auto thing so a thing in your map appears and you follow it and you just get there, right? Like it needs to. I want to explore and I want to see stuff. It needs to have a world of its own. And I feel like here's hoping that's the case.
Yeah.
And they have till May to figure it out.
Cool.
Oh yeah, you know what's a fun game that reminds me of is Block and Load. Did you ever talk about Block and Load?
Oh,
Yes,
block and
we
load,
did.
yeah.
Block and Load's
maybe.
really fun.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
talk
but
about
it's
that.
small, it's contained, it knows what it is.
Yeah. And I much more respect games like that these days. I think it's probably because I've got limited time. So I like a good 4-hour experience versus like a 20-hour experience that has its moments, you know.
Yeah.
I want all killer, no filler, and I'm okay with the game being short if it lets me do that. So, yeah, there's a go. All right, okay, we're pretty much about done with the show. Let's look at releases, and then we can wrap it up, shall we? Dodger, begin.
Yeah.
She doesn't have
Sorry, I
them
was
up, does
scrolling.
she?
I was scrolling up. Oh,
All
I'm
right.
still scrolling up. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, here we go. Hey, today, January the 27th,
Wow.
Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth Sisters
What?
Generation comes out for
What?
Vita.
Oh, it's
Sorry,
Some
what?
anime bullshit.
There's a Hyperdimension Neptunia. There's loads of games like that.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it's a big
Hello,
series.
Nurse.
Yeah, there's a lot of anime in the thing.
I can't
Yes.
wait. I can't tell what. Half
What?
the images on image search are like super chibi and they look like they're 12, and the other half is like, damn. I can't.
Can't tell which is fan art and which isn't.
Yeah,
Damn.
it worries me.
Damn.
All right, next.
Damn.
Grim Fandango Remastered for PS4, PC, and PlayStation Network Vita.
Still 4:3 aspect ratio though. Like I guess they couldn't make it 16:9, which is a bit of a shame. But outside of that, I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
That is sad.
yeah. But it's Grim Fandango, which is one of the finest point and clicks of all time. So
Fact.
that's probably enough reason for people to go with it.
Oddworld Stranger's Wrath for Ouya.
Oh fuck me. Next.
Ooh yeah.
Dying Light for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and LN.
Linux. Yeah.
Linux.
Apparently the Linux version doesn't run very well, a lot of people have been saying, which is a real shame, because, like, Linux doesn't usually get brand new games immediately, so this kind of was a big deal for them, and apparently it's not running very well for some people, so, ooh.
Oh, that's too bad.
I hope they get that fixed.
Nihilumbra for PlayStation Network Vita.
Huh, what on earth is that, you might ask? Because I don't bloody well know.
It's a PlayStation
What the
Vita
hell?
game.
It is a puzzle platformer by a Spanish video game developer called Beautifun Games. It was on iOS in 2012. It's now been ported.
It looks like an iOS game.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Tesla Grad for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3 Network.
Puzzle platformer, if I recall correctly, that one?
Yes, Tesla Grad's great.
Yep.
It looks like I want to almost say like sort of Disney style instead of like animation wise, instead of like computer generated graphics. It's insane looking. I think it's a beautiful game.
Tomorrow, the 28th, Streets of Chaos comes out on PC.
Oh shit! What Streets of Chaos
Streets of Chaos.
in a world? Wow, Streets of Chaos. Image search for you does not equal what I thought it would. All right,
Yeah, right? I don't
Streets of
understand.
Chaos game.
This
Is this a super old game?
The
Or is
shit
it a
is
new
this?
game that's supposed to look really old?
Yeah, no, this is definitely.
I just see a bunch of numbers and a really weird UI
Streets of Chaos.
and a
Assign tasks to your gang members, equip them, or perform other related management chores.
it looks like
This
a
looks
Facebook
really
game.
familiar to an older title that I remember. I'm gonna have to I'm almost
What's
certain.
that game you used to play on your calculator in math class instead of math?
Drug
this
Wars?
looks like that. Yes, this is Drug Wars.
Drug Wars?
It's
Oh my God.
this is based
Drug
on
Wars.
something. This is because this was based on a kind of video game board game. I played this a long time ago. I'm almost certain of it, but I don't know what it was called, and they haven't in any way mentioned it. So it may just be a coincidence, but that looks very similar to something that I remember from DOS, like the DOS days, a long time ago. Interesting. Okay.
Next up is Destructimundo for PC.
Well, that sounds interesting based entirely on its name. What is that? Destructamundo.
Oh, very different than I expected.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that is different.
What?
what the hell
None
is
of
this?
these games have been what I thought they were going to
This
be.
is not in any way
No.
what I expected. It's a
What
bunch
the-
of spinning plates, from what I can tell, and sometimes they explode. The hell?
What the?
I don't have any idea what that is. Okay. Next.
Next up is Gear Up for PC.
Gear up. Okay.
Gear up.
It's a free-to-play game, I think? Looks like it.
Yep. If you just type in Gear Up, a lot of not game stuff happens.
Yeah,
It
I
looks
imagine it does.
like
It's a tank game.
Halo tanks
Game, yeah.
fighting each
Or
other.
Turret game.
Yeah, it just looks like Halo turret tanks fighting each other.
It looks like some kind of just multiplayer, kind of cartoony tank game, from what I can tell.
That Hyperdimension Neptunia game also comes out for PC tomorrow.
Oh, they're certainly
And
getting a lot of Japanese
then-
stuff now.
Yeah, and then Hypnosis for PC.
Okay. These
Hypnosis
games are
looks
hard
crazy.
to like look up.
Oh,
If
Again, don't
this
just
is
type
what
in
I think it
hypnosis.
is a.
Oh.
It seems to be a hidden object game, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
It's
really?
on Big Fish Games, which they
You're traveling through the characters' minds
Okay.
as they go
Wait,
through
I'm
hypnosis.
I'm linking a picture in chat.
It sounds like a David Lynch game.
Overcome phobias.
Like, what the fuck is
hell?
that picture?
What?
You won't forget this game.
Oh, with the I-beam?
Yeah,
The I-beam.
super weird.
Apparently you're going through her mind or some crap? I don't know.
Okay. Huh.
She's got some
guess
crazy
so.
shit in her mind.
Yes.
Mind
This is my problem with these
expanding
generic
plot.
titles is we don't even know if we're talking about the right game half the time.
I
It's
know, right?
really kind of annoying. Okay.
On the 29th, Metroid Prime Trilogy comes out for Wii U.
Nice. Good games. Very good.
Shadow of the Ninja comes out for Wii U and 3DS.
Don't know what that is. Is that a virtual console game? Let's find out. Shadow of the Ninja. Yes, it is. Released in 1990. It's a platform.
Oh.
Meh.
On the 30th, Life is Strange
Yes.
Episode 1 comes out.
Do
I'm
wanna
so
see this.
excited. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, I want to see what Don't Nod can do because Remember Me was really disappointing to me in terms of its mechanics, but its world design was beautiful. So my hope is that they can do. It's a kind of episodic narrative game. I'm not sure what it has on the mechanics side of things. Haven't seen too much of the gameplay yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
so
Like, it
excited
looks
for that
gorgeous.
Yeah. Hopefully, should be getting code for that really soon because I do want to play the first episode, see how it goes.
Oh my god, you play as Dodger.
Pretty much.
What?
The one image I see is some girl with like an Oregon ashtray with short blue hair laying down with like what it basically is a Dodger outfit, and then a man trying to like get her on the internet. Basically, it's Dodger.
Interesting.
Me. This is a game
Sounds
about me,
spot on.
guys. Life
That's
is
how I'm
strange,
gonna play
isn't
it. That's how I'm gonna play it.
Ha ha!
Aha!
Little Dodger and me on an adventure.
All right, we need to get on because we're overrunning time.
Yeah, Unmechanical Extended Edition for Xbox One.
Good game, puzzle game, flying robot.
10 years after for PC.
No idea.
Yeah.
Let's find out. 10 years after. No, that appears to be a band. That's
Yeah.
10 years after is an English blues rock band that were popular in the late 60s. I can't even find this game. I find a blues band. Next.
Oh, it's a zombie game.
Oh,
Oh.
pff.
Ooh. Survivalist for
Ooh.
PC.
I've heard some weird
probably
shit
is.
about that game. I thought
Like
was
what?
that an early access? I don't know. When survival isn't, that is the absolute worst looking title screen for anything I've ever seen. But
That does look really.
it was an Xbox Live indie game apparently, but it's
Oh.
it's apparently got some interesting dialogue things where like the guys will remember what you said, like there's some moral choices. Combines action RPG and real time strategy elements. All right, I mean I'll give it a bash. Why
Yeah.
not?
Next up is Raven's Cry for PC.
Raven's Cry. Okay, that's a $50 game. That is.
Oh.
Hang on.
Pirates? Yeah, Pirates.
Oh, it's
yeah.
a reality pump game. It's a reality pump game. They made 2 worlds. Holy shit. Right. Well, that might be awful, or it might be good. Who knows?
Who knows?
It appears to be a pirate RPG of some description.
Yeah.
Third-person
Yeah.
RPG adventure game combining fast swordplay, thrilling naval battles, and free-ranging exploration through undocumented islands. Okay, that might be worth a look.
There's
getting
sharks
the
in this game.
booty.
F that shit.
There's probably sharks.
That's
You've got no
right.
shark phobia now. Quit it.
Yeah, totally.
Next up is a game called Just Get Through for PC.
I would imagine that's probably, I'm just going to guess by the title, a nightmare platformer. And I am completely fucking correct in that assumption. That's exactly what it is. It's a randomly generated nightmare platformer. Next.
Cool. Next up is Eden asterisk. Eden asterisk for PC.
What? Eden. That's a terrible name for anything.
Eden asterisk.
I can't even look that up because it doesn't come up.
Eden.
Oh, here it is. It's an anime game.
Is it?
What?
Yep.
I keep finding a space game.
Nope. It's a space anime, possibly.
What?
There is
Eden
anime
game?
involved. It is the final love story of a dying planet, apparently.
What?
What?
I've only found a weird block game and a space game. Whatever.
Oh
Eden's
god,
coming
Eden
out.
promises
Next.
a play experience more akin to enjoying a movie than reading a book. Okay, that doesn't sound anyway entertaining.
Next up is Chaos Ride for PC.
A chaos ride.
Chaos ride.
Chaos
As
Ride.
opposed to a calm and organized and in-control ride. Oh, it's a futuristic arcade racing game. It's kind of like a first-person Wipeout?
All right.
Okay. All right. That might be worth a look.
Gene Run and Jump Platformer.
Well, I think we know what that is. Next.
Next, Drive to Hell for PC.
Is this a sequel to Ride to Hell?
I was going to say the sequel to the much-loved Ride
Ride to Hell, yes. It is an action-packed shooter where you'll take a ride through an army of monsters. Yeah, it's a top-down driving shooter, basically. Shmup.
Cool. February 1st, hashtag IDARB for Xbox One.
This has a ton of hype behind it, if I recall correctly, for some reason. I do not in any way know why. It is a chaotic 8-player esport jumping jetpack future arena ball game. This is how they describe it.
What?
Apparently people really love this thing. I've been hearing a ton of buzz about it.
Huh.
It's a terrible name for a game.
IDARB.
Yep. It's apparently crowdsourced. Which is, I'm not sure how exactly they crowdsource it, but, okay.
Interesting.
Intriguing.
And then our final day, February the 2nd, we have Vulture for NetHack PC.
Okay, because NetHack was a really, really fucking old, it was pretty much like the...
Oh no, this looks really, really fucking old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually literally just a graphical interface for NetHack. Okay, NetHack is an ancient, like, roguelike, basically, like one of the first. So it is literally a visual engine to play that game. All right.
Grand Class Melee 2 for PC.
Grand Class Melee 2.
I don't even know what's going on. Who names games anymore?
I don't even know. It's apparently... Oh, this is an early access launch, so I don't even know what's going on with that. It is an RPG job system arena fighter. That's not a real sentence. You just made that up.
All right.
60 classes to play.
Next.
Okay, it might actually be all right, but never mind. All right.
Next, Battle Ranch for PC.
Battle Ranch? You fucking fight...
Battle Ranch
Oh, you
appears to
literally
be
do fight cows by the looks of it.
Plants vs. Zombies, but with cows.
Oh, it actually literally is. It looks like a terrible version of Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah,
Battle Ranch
that's
is
what
a
it is.
farm strategy, tower defense, and time management game. Yeah, this is
Yep.
literally a rip-off of Plants vs. Zombies, only shitty. And it got greenlit, so well done, community. You have no idea what you're doing.
And our final game in the list today is The Guilt and the Shadow for PC.
Ooh, spooky. It's even written in scroll as well. Wow, the description is literally, unbearable, this place stinks, I need to get out of here, the boat is waiting for me. It is a short story exploration game with inspired by point and clicks and 2D puzzle platform gameplay. So in other words, I will fucking hate it. But other people might like it, so they should probably
Crazy.
play it.
It's crazy looking. I don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
kind
got
of...
it's got a kind of monochrome pencil art style to it. Huh. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up, I think, for the releases. Lots of not much, really. Like, lots of games, but we don't know if any of them are going to be any good. But maybe some of them will be, so we'll try and find them. We'll try and discover them for you. All right, folks, so we're about done on the show, but let's hear from people as to what they're going to be doing for the rest of the week, what they can find on the channel. Dodger, what's coming up?
Well, tonight we have Manga Pod for a manga called Oyasumi Pun Pun. It is very weird, but kind of amazing. So if you want to watch that, that's on youtube.com/happily Aaron at 7:30 Pacific time tonight. And if you need a countdown timer, you can go to my most recent video on my channel, which is youtube.com/press to continue. And there's a little like podcast announcement video there. But my channel is mostly anime bullshit, games, just all sorts of
We're playing
weirdness.
Realister.
Yeah, Crendor and I are playing Realister still, and we're gonna cheat and get somebody to touch our butt because, my God, 2 playthroughs and no butt touches. What sort of a game is this?
You guys suck at dating sims, apparently.
We're really bad at it, yeah.
We are.
And and then my other channel is youtube.com/dexterity bonus, where I do vlogs. It's been a little not happening the last couple of days because I was at Pax South, but come back and I'll drink coffee and talk to you all about my cats because I know you've missed it. And on all the social medias, I'm at Dexbonus, DEXBONUS.
Good shit. Crendor, what's coming up?
Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to my promotion for my things. What am I going to be playing this week? I'm going to be playing some World of Warcraft, where I'm on episode like 100 of leveling. Apparently, people just listen to it for ASMR reasons, but hey, you know what?
I think that's
I'm
mostly
fine with
it.
that.
They just put it on in the background.
Yeah, that's what everybody said. One woman at the at BlizzCon was like, "Can you make more? I like to clean my house to it." And I was like, "Sure."
Pretty sure that's what people watch my options menu videos for. It's just like 30 minutes of talking about frame rate and texture quality.
Probably.
I imagine it is.
I mean, I also put up some videos on my actual ASMR channel, which is Goodnight Crendor, all one word.
Good. That fuck.
And let's see, I'll be playing some Hearthstone. I'll probably be playing some of the games we talked about, like Night Squad. I want
Are
to
you
play
excited
that.
about the Undertaker nerf? I'm excited about that.
Oh yeah, the Undertaker nerf. Yeah. I mean, I rarely used Undertaker, but I hated when other people used it, so it just makes
fuck
me
that guy.
happy.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously.
Awful
And
guy.
then I'm hoping Blood Bowl 2 comes out soon.
Don't know when
but
that's going to be.
They said spring, so I'm hoping like
Well,
in
it
a few
ain't that
months. Yeah, and then I'll probably stream some stuff. I'll probably stream more freestyle basketball. And,
Thank God. What the
and,
internet truly needs right now.
and Heroes of the Storm, probably.
Jesse, what's coming up?
It's fun.
I'm sick, so me getting better is what's coming up. I will try and get videos done. If no videos show up, you know because I'm dead, or sick, or
All right,
both.
One of those.
So, just chillax, my babies. Videos will keep coming, but I don't want to sound like this for another 2 weeks because I've been doing videos every day. So it'll get there when it gets there.
Cool.
Done.
Probably not much for me this week. Chemo tomorrow, so a few days of feeling like shit. And as a result, there probably won't be too much. But I do have a Dying Light port report that I just recorded today. I need to do the editing on it because I'm doing fancy shit like comparison shots and everything, so it takes a little bit of time. There is also a 1-minute bonus wall licking section at the end where I do nothing but stare at wall textures. So do enjoy that. I'm sure you'll find it extremely fun. It's outside of that, pretty much nothing. Like there'll be the podcast VOD will be up on Thursday. Admittedly, if you're already watching this, then that's kind of pointless information. There's supposed to be new co-optional animators at some point. Those don't have a schedule anymore, by the way. If you hadn't realized, he takes as long as he fucking well takes to make them. The latest one is over 4 minutes long. It's like the longest one we've ever done, so unless you count the 2-parters, which I don't because that would be silly. So there will be another co-optional animated relatively soon, I would imagine. And
Our Pax Cox and Crendor animated thing will go up.
Yes, I watched that. The audio
we
was
only
terrible
showed it.
because they really fucked
Was
that up.
it?
Yeah, they had the mic on it, so there's a weird echo. It was kind of strange. But, yeah, so you'll be getting that. Yeah, so don't expect too much else from me this week. Dying Light, WTF is probably the priority at the moment. So we'll keep working on that. And then hopefully Life is Strange, which should be out in the next few days. So hopefully we'll be able to get a hold of that as well. Although how the hell I'm going to do that without spoilers, that's going to be a mystery. I think we're going to have to go the Telltale route where we just record the first 20 minutes and talk over it because there really is like no other way of doing it. It's also story-driven. All right, cool. That pretty much wraps us up for the Corpsal Podcast. Again, thank you very much for watching. Big thanks to everybody for enduring the couple of drops that we had during the show and the live stream. The VOD should be up in parts, of course, because of the drops on the Twitch channel for subscribers, and will be up on Thursday for those who missed parts of this show over on youtube.com/cynicalbrit. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube if you haven't already for some reason. Our name is right here. Yes, just go to those channels, click the subscribe button. Everyone's going to be super happy. And if possible, the next few days, there will be the Honeypop video with my wife, which will be on youtube.com/JennaBain. I am not besmirching my channel with it. Thank you very much. So you can put it on there with the dog videos and things of the chinchillas doing funny stuff.
200,000 views, TB.
Oh, I have no doubt.
People just wanted to see me
More than
bang
that.
chicks.
Yeah.
It's climbing
yeah.
still.
Yeah, you'll probably get it is views if you play that game for some reason. I don't know why.
12 million views. Dodger,
Yes,
play
you
through
might
it
nip.
for... Play through it, but play through it as me, and you'll appreciate it more.
Play through it as you. I appreciate it just fine. I've almost banged all the ladies.
You
Almost,
don't know
but you
anything. You know nothing.
Jon
You know
Snow.
nothing, Jon Snow.
Jon
Jon
Snow.
Snow.
Yeah.
Jon
Dirk.
Snow.
Yeah.
Dirk. Dirk.
Dirk.
Dirk.
Dirk.
Goodbye.
Dirk.